Don't worry, everyone out there. Not everybody is having a sabbatical this week. We are back with you on RP Live. Betfair along the way this Saturday. It turns out it's not just the trains on strike. There were some network issues, would you believe it, in Lambeth, which is where we are in London. But we have the best IT team in the business. After a lot of sweat and blood and guts and tears, we are back with you this afternoon. Dave Orton steering the ship with 2 races down, would you believe it? And the panel are going to tell you that the naps have gone in, probably. The big news of the day is Frankie Dettori, 1 ride, 1 winner at Newmarket. The listed race for fillies, the 2-year-olds at Newmarket, which we'll be covering this afternoon, alongside, of course, Newcastle. And we'll be popping to the Curragh, I am delighted to tell you, 3:45, the Irish Derby. Lots to talk about there. He has a winner. There you go. So can't keep a good man down, I guess. Like the panellists, and let's just go straight down because we're going first race of the day now. Chip Chase, 6 furlong, burn up on the Tapita at Newcastle. Pitman's Derby, of course, 3:30, the highlight there. Charlie Poste, back on.
Hey, Dave.
Thought you were going to have an easy afternoon, didn't you?
I was sat here and I thought, maybe a short sabbatical is all we need, just like Frankie Dettori, but we're live on air now, and I'm looking forward to the racing ahead.
The partnership remains here, don't worry about that. Danny Archer is back as well.
Yeah, no sabbatical for me either, Dave.
No, quite right. And you're going to be pressing your debut, pressing for Barry today.
Wish me luck with it. Be patient, Barry.
He likes to give you the odd pelter.
Am I just on a sabbatical from the buttons? I'm surprised I've been dropped.
You are. Listen, absolutely. You are the champion, but turns out we can get rid of you in the saddle as well. Barry, we're with you, finally in Dublin. Come along.
Meant there after that win in the July course. Good to see. You can't keep a good man down. Sure you can't. He's booted one home, and it's sod's law.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Loads has been said about that, Barry. Obviously, we'll talk about it throughout the afternoon, won't we? There is a market, of course, on the replacement. I saw you flagged that up initially, and then we did a nice story on it. Holly Doyle, long odds on to replace Frankie at Clare. If you're wondering what we're talking about, John Thady Gosden have parted ways. A break, they're saying. There's the flying dismount. Nearly got it wrong, didn't he? Probably a while since he's done one of them, I'd imagine.
It'd be terrible if he stacked it, wouldn't it?
Oh, dear Lord. They have parted ways after a tricky 12 months, shall we say. Huge story, I think. On the back pages of loads of tabloids over here domestically, it's that big a news story. What's your reaction to that? We'll answer you. We'll have a chat about it if you want. But, of course, we give you raucous reaction here, all about the tips during the race, and after we'll give you post-race analysis as well, best in the business. And we're going to learn about the sportsbook, right, Barry? Have we got any trades to get underway already?
Yes, Sportsbook and Exchange, Dave. We have already done our Lucky 15 because the first leg ran in that Empress Stakes in Newmarket that Frankie Dettori won, and it went down. It was Mini Tonka. That was our first leg of our Lucky 15. We've 3 legs left if anyone wants to do a Trixie. It's Sensor Judy coming up here in the Chip Chase. I think she's a good thing. I'll get to that in time. Lanikesh then in the 2:15 and Westover in the Irish Derby. I think he'll win as well. So if anyone wants to do a short price Trixie, those 3, I wouldn't put them off.
Yeah, I love them. I think I'm with 2 of those along the way. Now, listen, it's the Irish Derby, 3:45. We're going to pop to the Curragh. Of course, it's being included on ITV. If you're new to the show, that's what we cover. Terrestrial races here. An alternative reaction show here at the Racing Post. And with Betfair, Barry's going to trade in every single race for charity. We've got one last shot for Wellchild, Barry, haven't we? It's gone rather well this month.
Yeah, we're getting a few quid from them. I think, Dave, we do a pretty decent Ascot. So I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head, but I know they're in the plus bracket. They'll be getting a check. So hopefully we can add to it today.
Brilliant stuff. All right. And I think we've got 2 tribes in the racing world. We've got Westover, of course, now backed into favouritism for Rafe Beckett and Judd and Colin Keane. And we've got Tuesday, of course, for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien, who've been carrying all before them. Another outstanding time of it during Royal Ascot Week. And Ballydoyle having no colt in the Irish Derby. It's pretty staggering, that, isn't it?
Yeah, so it is, yeah, for sure. I mean, is that something that would alarm you or not?
Well, it's all about Luxembourg. Barry flagged that at the top of the flat season. Without him, they all look pretty average, don't they? When you saw changing in the guard and the week he doesn't run, of course, turn out quickly after his Ascot run was being backed, you thought, he looks like he's a couple for next season, that chap, doesn't he? So they're all pretty average, I think. It just happens. It's the way it is, isn't it? There's a bit of a changing of the guard, if you like, with the middle distance sires at the moment, all that sort of stuff. But Tuesday, are you with Tuesday? Are you with Westover? Are you with something else? Shall we just get this out the way? Myself and Barry are on Westover, and you two, you're jumping on the filly.
Yep, we're sticking together down this end of the desk. We Tuesday all the way.
Two tribes go to war then. 3:45 here on Racing Post Live. Let's build up to that. But we must start looking towards the chip chase. We've had a couple of races at Newcastle. Has anyone's... We would have given 2 tips already, of course. I have got to be honest. I could show you the running order. I did put Frankie's amount up, so I'm potentially one up on you all at the moment.
I put Be Proud up, win and place in the first
Who
televised
didn't
race
win
in
but
Newcastle.
placed?
Yeah, but placed, you know.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Danny?
Poor so far. Believing ran okay for George Bowie, but not to be.
So you've had a bit of a touch thus far. All right, we can only
2
go up.
tribes as well. Is that another Frankie reference?
Listen, see how many we can get in the show this week. I don't know. But listen, apologies for the delay out there, guys. I know a lot of you were waiting for us and supposed to be on air a little bit earlier on. But the main action's still to come, and we were determined to be with you this week. So thrilled that we are here. Barry, what wins the chip chase?
I'm really with the favourite, Sense of Duty. I thought she could take a lot of beating here. She gets all the allowances. Danny, we're just going to have a straight 50 winner on the exchange, and happy to be a price taker at 3.15. She was very, very impressive when she won in Redcar at Phillies Novice. She carried her penno there. She followed up to beat Flotus in a listed Haydock race. Showed a great attitude there. Very well backed as well. The form stood up with Flotus finishing third to Perfect Power in the Commonwealth Cup, only beating a length and 3/4. Filly, and there's a filly after winning the first race in the Curragh, Teresa Mendoza, who was 4 lengths behind her in Haydock that day. So the form is really, really standing up. She's a filly getting the allowances as a 3-year-old as well, and I think at 3.15, eminently backable price. I have her in all my bets that I've done today.
We were lucky enough to have you over, Barry, during Royal Ascot Week, and I asked you what your favourite meeting was to stand at when you used to stand as a bookie. This is it, isn't it? You love this meeting.
Used to love the Curragh Derby Day, yeah. It was always a great meeting. Now, it's changed a lot from a bookmaking point of view since they redeveloped the race course. The bookies used to be in front of the stand, and there was a rails, and you'd bet into reserved enclosure and then to the main enclosure, and they'd absolutely hit you with money. It was brilliant. You could bet over in every race, but those days are long since gone, Dave. I was there last night, and I used to get butterflies driving up the driveway to the Curragh race course, but not last night, sad.
Well, there we are. But look, I was going to reference last night. I watched because you always look, don't you, for the maidens on this weekend. Ballydoyle often run a very good filly or a very good colt. We see, some of them at a better maidens coming up, what you might call a prestigious weekend. That filly of the first that came from near last to first for Colin Keane and Jern, she looked a bit special, didn't she?
Well, I watched that back this morning. Slánna Bhaile, she's called. It's Goodbye in Irish, and she was so keen and fresh early doors. He anchored her in on the rail, then he turned a sharp right and came around or cut through the field and made his challenge on the far side and won going away. She looks a really, really nice filly. Actually, I met your colleague Sam there last night, and we agreed that she was one to take out of the whole evening. Slánna Bhaile, remember that, it's Irish for goodbye.
That's the first Racing Post Live bingo done. Sam was odds on to find you, Barry. Gamble landed there. I hope you had a beer together, and it's great that people are all out of these race courses again. We had the feel-good factor. Let's keep it going from Royal Ascot. What a time to be in racing. The stories that are left, right and centre. The flat season is lighting up as we speak. And 3:45, classic time. A lot been said about the Irish Derby as well. We'll get to that, guys, because we want to get some selections for the chip chase. But bit of noise about that, isn't there, as well? So if you want to ask about that, the chat's there. We can see you guys. The numbers are building up. We knew that our community would be with us. If you're new to the show, like and subscribe. That's what it's all about. Anything on Twitter, get your questions in. Love the feedback. Hashtag RP Live. Righto. Chip chase. I'm with Barry for all the reasons mentioned. They don't really miss the target, these two. She has got a bit to find on form, but Flotus did advertise it. She's actually not that bad on RPRs. I was speaking to Paul Keeley about this yesterday when we were chatting about it. He said, I can't have her. I'm totally wrong favourite, because that's how Keels approaches a race. On form, she should be third or fourth, but they just know what they're just having such a good year, aren't they? And they hit the bullseye quite a bit. And I thought, bar the second and third favourite, maybe Glen Shield is the interesting one, loves the course. Spadecaster a bit unlucky not to win on All Weather Champions Day. It was a bit of a nothing race, this. Are you with me?
Very much so, yeah.
You have a sense of duty?
I have a sense of duty to you, of course.
Well, you do indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Danny Archer, are you going to spoil the apple cart?
Yeah, I'm not actually backing a favourite here. Barry will be shocked to know. I'm going for Spycatcher. I'm going for a bit of value. I just thought...
Barry's either falling off his chair.
and we're all delighted, because you know what that means. We're going to fly in the fab now, isn't it?
But my only thing was Phillies don't have a great record in the ship chase. I don't know how many have
I
run.
have noticed some notes, Danny Archer.
So I was going to take it on. I think third at Newcastle in the rear pinch probably should have won. And then obviously Highfield Princess arguably has franked the form slightly by going on to finish 6th in the Platinum Jubilee. The only concern is clearly that John of Gaunt run last time out, and that form is obviously going to be under investigation today with the likes of Pogo running later on and stuff. But I just thought back on the synthetic surface, I'll take a chance on Spycatcher.
I think so, and he was a little bit unlucky. My slight worry about him today, I like the horse, I backed him on all the way the Champions Day, and he sort of fell out a bit. Spoke to Carl Burke yesterday, and he said he can be a little bit iffy from the gates. And from stall 3,
Cheap pieces on for the first time.
cheap piece on for the first time. I can understand that because he looked like he was going to win. He did everything wrong on all weather Champions Day and still nearly won. And that was a very good race, as we know. But I don't know. Yeah, there's maybe a bit of value there. Glen Shield is the one that Paul Keeley really likes this weekend. And, of course, Group 1 winning sprinter. Holly Doyle in the plate. Lots of chat about Holly this week. We'll get to that as well. And coming from stall 9, you know what you're going to get with him. He disappointed me once at Ascot last week, and we were chatting about it in the office. We were saying it's a typical punter's thing. You can't let a horse off when you think. And I wonder whether maybe third time up, and this is a lesser race at a track he likes. I can see it.
Yep.
I will save on him, I think. But is age catching up with the 8-year-old now?
Well, there's every chance on form that it is. Yeah, 100%. But like you say, I suppose. It's not the strongest contest, as you've already alluded to. You know, he's had a couple of runs this year, and maybe this will put him absolutely spot on. I actually don't know. Is he a horse that normally builds up in a season or not?
Yes, you probably say he might be, because you associate him with Ascot Champions Day, obviously, don't you? And soft ground and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know.
Are you surprised he didn't run last week in one of the Platinum? I know he's probably not as good as he was, but he likes Ascot.
They're saying ground, aren't they?
Probably ground. Yeah. Probably ground, and of course here he is. Look, he's got the class to do it. And Kill's reasoning was he should be a lot shorter in the betting. I see that. I probably would have him in his second favourite. I think.
I can't believe there's a Group 1 winner in here. Ebro River, the Phoenix. I mean that race looks very poor.
What's
I mean, Dr. Zemps has tried to frank the form this year, but to see Ebro River now running here hasn't really gone on from that Phoenix Stakes.
He was a quirky old chap at 2, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yes, okay, for Hugo Palmer, who looked like he was having a bit of a cold spell and then thankfully got over the line. He won the Cumberland Plate, didn't he?
Yeah, and then Flaming Rib ran well in the Commonwealth Cup.
Flaming Rib did run very well, and he was hitting the crossbar, but a couple of odds-on shots were beaten. Chris Cook, one of our senior writers, wrote, should we be worrying 0 from 30 or something like that? But of course, you know what happens. Yeah. The moment you start writing about these cold lists, they come red hot again, and it's good to see. All right, we're getting off with the sprint then. Is there any other interesting horses in here whatsoever? I mean, Anaf is quite interesting. Bielsa. Yes.
Old horse, a friend of the show, isn't he?
He is, and they wanted to run him, Barry, in the Wokingham, but the ground went against him. All roads lead back from the Air Gold Cup. I think, remember, of course, when we did this show, he ploughed that lone furrow. Yeah. The one day we all jumped off him, and he goes and wins. He is a friend of the show, you're right.
The one day you all jumped off.
Oh, yes, all right.
That day, actually.
He's look at that, keeping a straight face.
Charlie, that one an important distinction.
Absolutely. Listen, he thought he was going to have an afternoon in the pub and still get paid for it. So that's the best winner of the day, guys, isn't it? He's had to endure this. And in all seriousness, guys, you've done extremely well to get in here today. It's been a bit tricky out there, isn't it? Train strikes and all that. Hopefully, you're plotted up at home and you're watching the racing. It's good fun. And despite the fact there's a little bit of After the Lord Mayor's show this weekend, we've got a classic.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I mean, I'd like the racing is still great stuff, isn't it? And like you say, I'm looking forward to
some good away cards. Chester, of course.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the Irish Derby. I know you were talking about it, but I think I'm really looking forward to the race today.
You would give Lionel a squeak as well, wouldn't you?
I would. I mean, I was looking through the race, and he's also I liked since his runs at Newbury, and I thought he did well to win a Goodwood on the last start. He got up there late, didn't he? And I just think the extra galloping test of the Curragh could suit him well. I know you were concerned about the ground.
Yeah, well, it's just to sort of, I don't want to pigeonhole his trainer, but David Venusier his horses do seem to.
Why is that?
Don't really know. Maybe it's and these these connections. They're very well established families, aren't they? And it was definitely a bit of pound ground, if you like, at Goodwood. It would be lovely with Wonderful Tonight having gone off to breeding duties to see him back with a decent horse, because he's a great character.
Good trainer as well.
Good trainer. Yeah. Places his horses really well. And Glorious Goodwood coming up as well. It makes you think of his native track as well. We'll be covering each and every day for you next month. I keep thinking I'm in July, but we're not quite there, guys. Of course, Eclipse coming up next week. Who's going to turn up in that? Get it in. We're also going to do a nice segment for you a little bit later on. Hope you read the running order in the week, Barry Orr, because we're going to do Greatest Ever Race, which is a very popular segment that we did socially at the Racing Post here as well. So we want to hear from you. What's the greatest ever race? What's your greatest ever race? The panellists in between the penultimate and the Irish Derby will be giving you that. So lots of good chat. But they're in then for the chip chase. Will the Jolly prevail and take her form to the next level? Good luck for the first race of the day here on Racing Post Live. And Anaf a little bit slow away. I thought he ran well, Anaf, at York last time in that handicap from stall 1. But it is Glenn Shiel, the Group 1 winner, along with Ebro River, another Group 1 winner, as the Arch said. They're doing plenty up front, guys, aren't they?
Ebro River is doing what he can do, and he's ripping and tearing, isn't he? He's doing well.
And look what Bielsa's doing, look. Who remembers him in the Air Gold Cup? He's ploughing the lone furrow, isn't he? On his own with Kevin Stott back on. Anaf up there as well, Judicial creeping. Let's look for the Fav then, Barry, in midfield.
Yeah, kind of getting scrubbed along now, going just following Spycatcher there, the favourite, gets the gap. If she's good enough, she'll go on and strike clear of these.
I don't think she's liking the kickback. She was behind Judicial there. I don't think she's that confident.
But liking the kickback now.
Here comes the nap. Now let's go. Here we go. We're getting up. She doesn't mind a bit of the old kickback now.
Well, she's not got any kickback
struggling,
now.
Guys.
Oh, no.
Here she comes. Sense of duty goes through. Anna, who we thought would run well. Hey, we can all go home now. This is it. Third time lucky on the show. And that's 2 winners for me. She is absolutely dotted up here. Barry told you. I was keen on her. Charlie Post was as well. And Danny doesn't tip her favourite. And look what happens, Barry Orr. He's going to have a Cheshire Cat grin, no doubt.
Absolutely destroyed them, hasn't she? Getting all the allowances. The form of the race in Haydocks just worked out brilliantly. It was Frank again today, with Teresa Mendoza winning the first race in the Curragh, absolutely slooshed in and was punted like a good thing as well, that winner. Nothing really traded shortener. There's no outstanding in running other than Bielsa, I suppose you could say, hit a low of 2.42, Dave. Again, that looks like a horse that maybe that's the key to him, just keeping him away from everything else. So watch out for air if they're drawn. What is it, low there? And they came up the stand side. So
yeah,
with the winner, like she's a really progressive filly. It'd be interesting to see if we quote her for any.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Listen, very progressive, got the right team behind her, had it to fun and fun. But we've got a couple of socials. The gallery team, honestly, they're just pausing for breath after literally having to go above and beyond to get us on today. And they finally got some socials coming up. Opening this Saturday is Toon 2020 HWTL. Easy. Well, I don't know. How big did she go in running, Barry?
She didn't trade big at all in running, Dave, to be brutally honest with you. I think the highest she hit was 5.7, so around the 92 mark.
Because she was being scrubbed a bit, wasn't she?
And she was a little bit slowly away as well. And then
she was slowly away, yeah.
Yeah, and I do agree, whether she wasn't completely in love with a bit of kickback once she got some fresh air to run into. I mean, she absolutely took off.
Them, hasn't she,
she's trounced them. Yeah.
Archie's
I'm nodding my head because
he's got to get the old chin off the old.
I'll tell you what, this is a big day for Danny Archer as well, because as you well know, Danny does a lot of TV work in the greyhound world, and you do our greyhound channel. It's the greyhound derby tonight, isn't it?
It is
at Telstar, and you put up a 40-1 poke that's nearly favourite. I hope your day gets better, Danny.
Romeo Magico 40-1, now 2-1 second favourite behind Kildare, so it looks like an Irish dominance in the derby, but that's at 9:15 tonight, I think. So We'll see what happens.
You can check that out.
Many jobs have you got today, Danny?
I'm going back to
working in Wimbledon earlier. I footed in there to do Racing Post Live. Then you're doing the dogs tonight.
I've got to go back to Wimbledon after this, Barry.
You're working in a restaurant on the way home, or are you giving yourself a night off?
He'll be there for last orders.
To be honest, if he turned.
Dave's got me
and Gordon Ramsay dressed like that, you wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, he could be front of house, couldn't he?
He could be front of house.
He could. He'd be really good at that.
Let me show you to your favourite table.
You're a good grafter, Danny. You're a good grafter. Fair play to you.
There you go. Absolutely. Yes, your stock is going up, Danny Archer, the busiest man in sport.
And what about the toaster again, you?
I know. Well, absolutely. A reference to toast. Quite a few references about toaster.
Toaster, no, not toaster.
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 It's like the Southwell song.
Yeah, he does this all the time.
All right, Will. Nap goes in, Will. Congrats. Didn't she win well, Tom Marquand? Tom the Pom, will he have an easier ride than that all day? What will this filly do? Get my programme book out. What do you reckon? Is she Group 1 class?
Oh, Flotus was second in the Group 1 last time out. I think you've got to step her up. Would you go July Cup?
Whoa,
What about France?
For that, aren't they?
Maurice de Giste or one of those?
Yes, something like that. It's good to see these colours have. It's St Albans bloodstock, isn't it? I think. Good to have.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Really good to see these old school, really well established colours.
Would she be one for a Numthorpe?
No,
I wouldn't have thought she's quick enough. Like I said, which one's the 6.5 furlong one in France? Is that the Maurice de Giste?
Yeah, that's the
Maurice de Giste.
That
Yeah.
would be nice, wouldn't it?
I'd have thought so.
You're
And
going
then
to come
maybe
up against
Ascot end of the year.
potentially perfect power there, you know. But again, on the line of form, it's you know, she's all right. We think we've seen something special there. Well done, those of you that weighed in with Barry.
She was getting all the allowances now, in fairness as well. Like, she's a 3-year-old filly and she's getting chunks.
It's just this. They're just such a good firm, Barry, aren't they? They you can often tell
Proper
in the market
outfit.
when they're proper outfit, when they're solid in the market, when they've got a bit to form, they've got a bit to find. It just gives you that bit more confidence, doesn't it?
Well, it wasn't Haydock. If you recall at Haydock, they backed her off the board. Like, Pete was out of the question and she duly obliged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like being on that firm's one when it's drifting. I really don't like being on a William Haggis runner and at a price and it begins to drift. That always makes me nervous.
There's a good question for everyone out there. We often have it on this show. When do you worry about the drifts? And certainly one firm that when the money's down, maybe that's the opposite, isn't it? When the money's
We
down,
really saw it, didn't we, with some of Aidan O'Brien's in Ascot? Like, we were fancying horses, and next of all, they stank in the market and ran accordingly, some of them. So, especially some of those 2-year-olds. But
yeah, the Antarctic would be one.
Alfred Munnings. He drifted
Munnings
late.
was a weird one, wasn't it? Of course.
Yeah.
That was a tough old Saturday, Barry, wasn't it? Of course, Holloway Boy took out, became the first debutant 2-year-old winner in Ascot, for goodness knows how when. Again, if you want us to talk about any memories of that this afternoon, we can digress and go down there. Perhaps a performance, an eye catcher or something like that from the guys. All right, Newcastle, up and running. We are good to go. We've got the we've got the railway stakes as well. We won't be covering that, but we'll keep an eye on it, Barry. Crispy Cat, of course, coming out of that Norfolk. The very
and Blackbeard, who went off favourite for the Coventry.
And they've got previous form together, haven't they? And the market suggesting that Blackbeard will just go and win. Yeah,
I don't know. He's backing up very quickly. It's not usually Aidan O'Brien's MO with a 2-year-old to do that. Now, they did it last night with the Queen Alexander runner, Wordsworth, who disappointed again last night. He doesn't seem to have any. No trip suits him, apparently. But, he's that's my dog scratching at the door to get in. Sorry.
Well timed with Wordsworth.
I'm going to have to let the dog out. Talk among yourselves for a minute. I'm going to have to let the dog out.
He's not talking about Wordsworth, Aidan, don't worry. Although we think he might have a few woofy tendencies. He'll be jumping, won't he, Wordsworth?
Definitely. I think so.
Yeah.
He's so one-paced.
Keith Melrose will be plotting him up for an Ida, I'd imagine. It's he needs 10 laps, that chap, doesn't he? All right, but look, and the fact they're getting him out quickly, I guess Wordsworth means they think he's maybe not putting it all in. So look, there might be his day in the sun, but lots to talk about. We've got to move on. We've got a really interesting listed race coming up at Newmarket. Switch to the July course now. Absolutely we do. That happens during Royal Ascot week and catches some off guard, but we're off the Rolling Mile. We're going to the beautiful July course. We have one race that we were going to cover if we were on with you. A reminder, Frankie Dettori, just one ride today, not riding the Gos horse in the next race, Stowell. What happened? He won. And actually, maybe just a quick word on this, guys, we've got 7 minutes until the 2:40 coming up. There's the market on screen on the exchange before we get the trade from Barry. What are we making of this?
It's all a bit of a mess, isn't it, to be honest? But I mean, you get the impression there's way more to it than just a couple of ordinary rides at Ascot. For me, I thought Stradivarius, if he was the horse of old, he was out early enough to pick up. And if he'd been beat a short head, I could maybe see some argument in it. But it kind of aired of like people airing their dirty laundry in public a bit. I thought Gosden. I don't know. I don't like people being a bit like that. Personally, it's not for me. You know.
What's dramatic?
And then the whole our hero that when he won on Inspire, I just thought was pretty patronising, if I'm honest. But I'd like to say I think there's way more to it. Whether we'll ever find out what the actual story is. But
Frankie has come out, of course, today on RTV, and it was Chris Dixon that got away with him, wasn't it? That was a hot potato. But he looked a little bit awkward through it, I think, if I was reading between the lines. But he did say, you know, these things happen, we move on, and he's going to ride this year and next, all being well done.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got a few. I think he rides a lot for the Zoo Connections, doesn't he? And I I don't know what he's on tomorrow in Istanbul, but I think he said Frankie's going. He's then going
Kinross
to Belmont
colours, aren't they?
And all that sort of stuff. So, I think it started. He 13 months ago he won 1,000 guineas on Mother Earth, and then Royal Ascot. Okay, he had a good week, but then again with Stradivarius there, the Dylan Brown McMonagle issue. And then it's kind of come to a head again this year. My only thing with the Dettori factor, and I know this has been brought up, 88 rides. Poste's better to probably explain this to me, but it's a bit like, Serena Williams is playing Wimbledon this week. She's played no singles tournament, despite being a 7-time champion. You can't expect her to come out and win 7 matches straight away like that. And that's probably the same with Frankie in a way. Is he as match fit or tactically match fit as he would be if he was riding Tom Marquand?
Yeah.
He's only yourself to answer for. With him, he's riding for connections. He's riding for big breeding operations. So it's a strange one because he for that team, he has to be at top of his game, and obviously he hasn't been in the last couple of weeks. I was really surprised to hear he was away for a week before Royal Ascot.
Yeah.
He wasn't in riding work.
But
these things are being leaked slightly now, aren't they?
That's what I mean. Is there more to this? As in, it just seems very strange that you'd be taking a week off to go on holiday.
And it's not really they are good pals, aren't they? You think about Nabel, it was such a good story, that, wasn't it? Her King George was in the Arcs, and it was such a good relationship. So look, but these things happen in racing. We've seen it throughout the years, and Frankie is not getting any younger.
It always comes across like there's a bit of a father-son relationship to it, rather than them being great mates. When I don't know, as in it.
John, I imagine if you were to get when the dust settles on all this, if you were to interview him, I think John loves the history of the game, and he'll know about some of the big fallouts. He'll know about when Leicester was coming to the end of his tether and things like this. He knows about some of the big American jockeys that have been jocked off and all that sort of thing, the Cawthons and all this. When it used to be fierce. And I think he'll have one eye on history. I think here a little bit. Of course, will there be a
So you think he'll be enjoying this kind of
I'm
thing?
not suggesting that, and you're baiting me to say that he is. No, not at all. But John, I think John, it's quite a brave decision because it's Frankie Dettori. It's a big news story. He could pick up the Telegraph and find himself on the back page, couldn't he, about this? And that doesn't happen with racing a lot. So that's why we're covering this. The lack of rides is interesting, and what Barry says, there's a few stories emerging about how he just, not strolled into Royal Ascot, but...
It's got messy very quickly, though. From even the ITV interview where Gosden says our hero should have won on Saga as well in one of the handicaps at Royal Ascot.
Yeah.
And then I saw on the Nick Luck podcast, Dettori's agent coming out and saying about it, and Frankie will be back. There's a lot of different moving parts to it, and I think that's...
It sounds like Frankie's agent didn't have a clue.
I think that's, And this
it was his business manager, Pete Burrell.
Yeah, but it's all a bit of a mess. And did it have to be this much of a mess?
Barry, let's come to you because you cheekily floated a market for the next top jockey at Clarehaven. And it's fair to say that Holly Doyle was rather long odds on before she did an interview with Bob Cooper on Sky yesterday and sort of fumbled a line and then went no comment and walked off.
Yeah, I think he was leading the witness there because after he asked the question, or before he asked the question, he said, you can answer this question with no comment. So, we only saw one side of that on Twitter. But, she was 4-11. She's 4-9 now. We put Oisin Murphy in at 7-1 and James Doyle in at 7-1. They're 9-2 and 4-1 respectively now as well. She's 4-9, but I'd say it's no betting that she gets it. They're not going to appoint anyone between now and the end of the season, but I'm sure into maybe December or January, February next year, they'll have to announce a retained jockey because they like that sort of continuity, that yard. They've always had a retained jockey, haven't they? Isn't that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
Charlie, you'd know better.
Yeah,
than most. Yeah.
And of course, Will Buick and James Doyle, they've all obviously had a Godolphin thing. And despite the fact that he's sort of second rider, if you like, to Charlie Appleby or James Doyle, it's a monster job, that. So it's very interesting. Who rides Integral? There's some big rides going, of course.
Yeah, but between now and the end of the season, it's going to be very interesting.
Who's going to ride Integral? Frankie was mustard on her.
Who's going to ride Strad?
Strad is Strad's. We'll see. We will see. All these things. Get involved. Let us know. We've got to go to Newmarket, of course, those 2:40. Mine after the day runs. It's universal order, Barry. This is easy. We're going through the carb. Come on. Surely you're agreeing with me.
Yeah, no, I'm against Stowell here. That's the one horse I really, really want to be against. Frankie hit the front, I suppose, too early, and Ascot traded a trees on, and then he didn't vigorously ride the horse out thereafter. Currently 4.0, but I don't think this horse has any trip. We're talking about Wordsworth earlier, but I really don't think this horse has any trip. And they're dropping him back to 1.5 miles now here today. But what we're going to do, Danny, I'm going to look to lay him in running at around the even money mark because I think he will travel, and he does flatter to deceive sometimes. So we're going to look to lay him. So if you click the lay, and if you just bring it down to 2.0, so it's even money, and we're going to look to take 50 quid at a backer stake at even money.
Where am I going
Place
there, Barry?
bet.
From here.
The lay.
Click the lay button. Stole.
Yeah, the
Go
pink.
on to stole. Yeah. Oh, lads.
Pink button.
That one?
Pink.
Click the pink
No,
one
there,
there.
yes.
Yeah,
click that.
sorry. Yeah.
Now over to the backers odds.
Yeah.
It's highlighted and put 2 in there.
2. Yeah.
Like that is backer stake. Put 50 in there.
15
Yeah.
Place bet.
And you happy?
Confirm.
Because we want to do this in running. So
Okay.
you click, see where it says there, it says
I'll press confirm. By accident.
that's okay, and keep bet.
Okay. Keep.
There's up the
Yeah.
top, that's
Keep.
it.
Yeah.
There's
Update.
your education.
Select and update.
Yeah.
That stay in running now. If we hadn't selected keep bet, that would have just been taken down before the race went in play. But because we've selected keep bet, that goes in running. So it'd be great if the social lads could clip that up. It looks like Danny's just popped his cherry for an in-running bet.
I'll do that heart attack. I'll do that
When
heart
you're being
attack.
schooled by Poste about how to press those buttons, you know, Danny. But this is what we like, a bit of learning. We're off and running then. I like universal order.
Stole. I thought this was a race full of
That's
question
why I
marks.
like universal order. He was a massive eye catcher, trying to give £12 to Contact last time in a handicap. That horse is placed, of course, at Royal Ascot by an absolute good thing. Tom Siegel likes it as well today. He's a fragile 6-year-old. I think we can say that. They wanted to run him at Royal Ascot. The ground was too quick. Nice bit of juice we can see on the July course at the moment as we are being led through. Who's up front at the moment?
Kamari.
Yeah, something enticing, of course, is out in this. It's Kamari who tried to do this at York last time, if you remember, lads. And it was a dreadful run, really, because he had every chance. Stoll is in the box seat, if you like, just one off. And the interesting horse, never been on turf before, Revel Romance under Will Buick. He's the one I thought, the only one that could beat
But
Universal
is it interesting because Buick chose him?
Well, I don't think he would be riding Kamari after last time.
No.
And this is a bit of a fly. He's got some pretty good form, but he's bred to go on turf, but we've just never seen it on before. Barry, we're ambling around, aren't we? Any change whatsoever?
No, nothing yet, Dave. 3.35 stole is the only kind of mover, but it's not very significant. 3.5 universal order, 5.8 Kamari, and Rebel Romance 3.85.
Thanks, Barry. Right, and again, as we're seeing, this is a bit of a trait, Danny. They don't really want to know the rail, do they, in the home straight on the July course so far this year?
No, but I'm also with Stoll. I know I've got against Barry, but I thought if the race finished at 1 mile 4 at Ascot, might have held on. So I'm happy dropping back in trip. Rebels Romance is just getting a glance of the form. The Maid-Am form is woeful.
Right.
So whether he returns to domestic scenes and he
Right,
sees
but it's
better
this
effect.
operation, isn't it? And looking on from rear, observing, he was unlucky not to have gone a lot closer at Haydock. Is Universal Order a pattern class horse for sure? Can he put 2 runs together? That's the only question mark here. He's really well backed. We're coming towards the 3 furlong pole then. Posty, would you be changing your tack now? Is Stoll going lovely?
I think Stoll's going all right at the moment. Just interesting here as he comes off the bridle here. Typical commentators curse this.
Well, Universal Orders now.
You're under pressure too.
Yeah,
I think this has been a muddling contest though, Dave. I think this has been a muddling contest.
I mean, if Kamari wins,
all over, lads. Rebel Romance now, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, okay, yeah. Universal desperately disappointed. It's something physical, I'm sad to say, with that horse by the looks of it. He's really lightly raced. This horse is hanging all over the place, but the one horse we didn't know about, how he would act on turf. If he did, he was always likely to take some beating. Kamari is what he is, and Stoll, I'm afraid, is caught between trips. He's a bit of a Wordsworth. This is all over. Another one for Will Buick, and he wins pretty much. Could be quite an interesting horse going forward, this, for the autumn. I think now he's proven himself with a bit uncut on turf. He hit the line hard. They've got loads of options, France and things like that.
Didn't look like much of a race, did it? Watching on,
it
being
didn't,
fair,
but
as in
Kamari
visually.
and Stowe will give you a pretty good benchmark of what you've got there, I think, if you're handicapping the race.
But a benchmark of a horse that we're saying is between trips and Kamari, who looks like he doesn't know.
probably runs to the same
Stoll
sort of
has
figures, I
no
would
trip.
imagine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying Kamari looks like the whole thing's gone to pot this year. So I don't know what the value of that is.
Well, there'll be 2 things that happen with Stoll, and probably, Kamari's a gelding, of course, but they'll probably hang on to him, I'd imagine, Godolphin. But it'd be interesting to see whether Stoll goes down under or something like that, or he might even be one for you. You might even be trying to get. Yeah, you wouldn't worry about that.
Many Zoffanies in the yard, Charlie.
No, I've not had any of them yet, Barry. I must admit.
You've got a couple of Wentworths.
They don't scream it. Yeah.
What's the sire we were talking about the other day? I've mentioned this to Keith Melrose, by the way. The sire that's been pulling up stumps in Ireland, the Derby winner.
The Derby.
The jump on.
Workforce.
Workforce, yeah. He couldn't believe it.
Really?
Yeah, he got a couple of them. He thought you got a bum steer there. He was like, you're supposed to be good at this pinhooking game.
We'll wait and see till the next spring, won't we?
Yeah, it's exciting coming up. All right, but we are all about the flat today and Newmarket down. Disappointed with Universal Order there. Something, I think, physical. He was beaten too far out to be true. Let's hope he's all right. But another fav goes in. 2 races down here on RP Live this afternoon. Myself, Dave Orton, Charlie Poste, the Arch, Danny Archer, and Barry Orr as well. Where are we going next, as? Oh, I think it's a consolation race, Barry, isn't it?
Race.
2:55 and a competitive affair. What are we, the field?
Yeah, it's 5 places on the Betfair Sportsbook here for the consolation race of the Pitman's Derby, the Bays, and it's 5.7 evaluation. That's been really strong, it has to be said. 8.6 Jermea. Tiger Jet is 11, 12.5. Have You Missed Me? Ravens Arc 15, 16. Mellow Magic, Not Without a Chance. I like Tiger Jet, and it's still a maiden in both codes. Pointed over here. Showed some promise here at the track over a mile 2 when beaten 4 lengths into second, and then went to Suddle and finished second again. Was only beaten a neck by a Farius who's now rated 84. Just it's not a race I have a strong opinion in. But what we're going to do, Danny, please, we're just going to have 25 quid win, 10.5. Happy to be a price taker at 10.5. And then we're going to look in the place market. If you scroll over
Tiger
to the
Jet. Yep, Barry.
Yeah, just confirm that. And then we're going to look over at the place markets on the left-hand bar there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at 5 places, Tiger Jet's currently trading at 2.44, which is 6 to 4. So we're going to have 25 quid there at 6 to 4 as well, the first 5 places. So 6 to 4 to finish in the first 5, and then we've 10.5 at to win the race. In a race I haven't a strong opinion in, but 5 places each way punters on the Betfair Sportsbook as well as a nice concession here.
Thanks, Barry. Drum roll. Cherry popped.
I did that all right.
You're like an old hand.
The in-play is not... I'm not an in-play punter. That was the only one I struggled with.
We do joke about this a little bit. We said to Danny, pre-show, we'd like to have a go at this. And the whole point is that we are sort of trying to educate people how to use the sportsbook and also, especially the exchange, so many ways of playing these races when you're not sure about it. Tiger Jet then for Barry, big gamble, and of course also in the Pitman's Derby, the big one, of which this is a consolation coming up at 3:30 is the big one. One cool operator, is it? One smooth operator's been
one smooth operator, yeah.
And then that would sort of sum up the trainer, wouldn't it, Brian Ellison? Who's desperate to win this race.
Yeah.
And so interesting that they've looked like they've both been laid out. I think you could do a lot worse than follow Barry here. 9 to 2 then, a horse on a roll, evaluation on the track and on the exchanges. Of course, he was always going to be popular. I'll go though, if you don't mind. Oh, in fact, we're in tandem here, young man. Ravens Arc. Would you like to give the case? I should give you the floor.
I think the problem with this race I found, well, it was always going to be the case, is a lot of these horses have met before. A couple have met at Goodwood recently, but I thought there was enough positives from the second last time out. He's improved with every run this season. And also I like the fact that he's a dual winner on the all-weather. So I think off a mark of 83, Mark 1 takes the ride. Hughie Morrison's no mug in this sort of race. I thought made appeal from stall 12.
Do you know when he first came onto my radar was at Ascot in September 2020. This is Ravens Arc and Tom Marquand going for a quick double. Big priced horse, we think here. You're right, he's got some really good form at Kempton. The Polytrack doesn't always transfer to Tapita. And he then went to Royal Ascot, to Ascot, in that very, is it the Lavazza? Yes, it is. They run a card there at Ascot in September. One of the best 3-year-old mile 4 handicaps of the later stages of the season. He's a massive eye catcher in that. He then sort of lost his way a bit. He came back at Brighton, but in his last 2 wins have been at Brighton. Oh, and Lingfield, of course, as well. But it was a good run last time, and I could just see him sort of staying on late and picking up the pieces. So me and Danny are agreeing in the consolation race with Ravens Arc. If you want to get involved, have a bit of fun with that one. Coming from stall 12 and a wide draw over 2 miles around there, not the problem. It used to be when it was on turf all those years back. You had to be low around 2 miles, especially in the big one itself, the Northumberland Derby. The last 2 winners of Northumberland Derby both come out stall 17, so don't worry about a wide draw whatsoever. Posty, what wins?
I didn't go for it, but I like Ravens Arc too. I thought the extra 2 furlongs would be right up his street, wouldn't it? But I came down...
Got to be different, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I try to be. For another Zoffany, that you were talking about one before, and Zoffy, the talented...
Oh, I love Zoffy.
Philip Hobbs, Chaser Hurdler, obviously now is Hugo Palmer, and look, it was a 5-runner race. They pulled a long way clear of the third. The form probably hasn't amounted to much. He only went up 3. Again, I thought the extra 2 furlongs should hold no fears for him. I mean, and granted, he's only ran small fields on the flat, but he's used
grinder,
to plenty.
isn't he?
He's used to plenty of big fields over jumps. So again, I mean, it's a wide open race. Like Barry said, it's hard to have a hugely strong opinion either way. But I just thought at 17 or 18. He was a winning place bet for me. Again, if he can get out and get a good pitch from a drawn 6, I could see him running well in this.
For Hugo Palmer, of course, won the Northumberland Derby in 2020 with Caravan of Hope, 9-2 Fav. Knows all about this. Yeah, I really like him. Go back to Windsor a couple of seasons back on the Sylvester season when he was with Tom Dascombe. I remember backing him there, and I backed him again next time when he was second. He's just a horse that keeps finding. He looks beat a little bit, so you can see why they're trying with Sustainer now. All right, there's a range of opinions then for you on the 2:55. 5 minutes coming up to that. How are you all out there? How's your weekend going thus far? Train strikes, madness everywhere at the country at the moment, isn't it? You're probably watching from afar, Barry, and with interest on that one.
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm not affected by it. But Mick Lynch has become a bit of a cult hero. He's a good Irish man. Well, his parents were Irish, so I think everyone in Ireland's rooting for Mick Lynch more than anything.
He was talking about his hero, Mick Lynch, and he said it was an Irish
James
social.
Connolly. Yeah,
that's it, James Connolly, and he that has been a bit of a breath of fresh air. Yeah, he's the royal ascot of Strikeland, isn't he? Breath of fresh air. Yeah, that has been good to see when you're seeing the likes of Kay Burley and
Piers Morgan getting
that was awful, wasn't it? It was absolutely brilliant. I love the way that Piers came out and tried to turn it like he does on Twitter. We're digressing slightly, but look, come on, get your tips out. What wins the Derby? That's what we want to hear. Look, the Irish Derby, 3:45. What do you think make of it as a race these days? Perhaps we'll have that chat now, just as we've got around about 5 minutes until we go off for this 2-mile race coming up at Newcastle. Someone was talking about changing the distance. What's this all about, Posty?
I mean, you said you could see the argument. I'm not sure I can. I
didn't say that.
I thought you did.
No, it was Danny.
Alan Sweetman said it.
Say that.
Was it? It was.
Yeah,
one of our more established writers.
I wouldn't like to see that happen.
Don't throw me under the bus with that. I know we have a bit of tennis, but that was a bit strong.
Sorry, I must be losing my mind
They
today.
clip these things up, it goes out. Not all of us want to be Rodway.
No one wants to be Rodway. But yeah, I'd be really disappointed to see it. I mean, I think it's fair to say they've not been the most vintage renewals in the last few years, have they? But again, I think we've got 2 very good horses turning up today, and I actually think it's a fascinating race seeing the filly. I mean, what was it, Balanchine and Salsa Bill, was it back in the day, fillies that won this race?
94 Balanchine, yeah.
Well, actually, right, now we're going down nostalgia lane. Let's do it, shall we? Let's talk about the greatest race. We're going to make a nice segment out of this. Barry, did you ever think about this in the week? People talking about all sorts of races. We talked about our greatest ever horse, didn't we, this time last Saturday when we were covering the final day of Royal Ascot, the likes of Yates and Dawn Run you mentioned. Do you have a favourite ever race?
Favorite ever race? No, I didn't give it much thought, to tell you the truth. I keep going back. Like, we did have this conversation about favorite horses, but it's probably one of my favorite races as well. Was Dawn Run winning her Gold Cup? Like, just everything about it just resonated with me as a teenage boy, mad about horse racing. So, yeah, that's what it would. It would still be one of my favorite races, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cheltenham is where you were thinking of going, Danny, but you went for a very well-known Cheltenham horse at Newbury.
The Tank. Yeah, I've thought about Galileo Fantastic Light or McCoy on Which to Lineman. That's one of my top ones. But no, in the end, I did go for Denman's 2009 Hennessy Gold Cup. Obviously, shouldering 11 stone 12 again. You friends the next at Sam Thomas, who won his first Hennessy on Denman and, of course, tasted Gold Cup success. He's on What a Friend, carrying just 10 stone 4. They pull up to the final fence together. The Tank wings the last, and he keeps on strongly to score under Ruby Walsh. I think apart from Arkle and Mandarin, he's the only 2-time winner of the Hennessy.
Yeah, that was some sight, wasn't it? And you could call him a long way out. Were you still riding then?
I was still riding then.
Yeah. What was the buzz in the weighing room about?
I mean, I don't think I was at Newbury that day, but I mean, electric. Yeah, I mean, like as in, I think the thing about the weighing, like, we're all big fans anyway, aren't we? So I mean, you're watching on the TV, and it was.
Where were
fantastic.
You that day?
Probably
Jersey.
Towcester.
Towcester.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Matty Batch is in Jersey at the moment, by the way. I spoke to him.
It's only a place to get a ride.
I said, when you come in next back in, Batch, he said, I'm in Jersey at the moment, Dave. You know, like this, all the winners and all that sort of stuff. Greatest ever race?
Well, if I was going to go on the flat, I was thinking about it, and I'd probably go Frankel in the Guineas just for the way it just visually. I just don't think I've ever seen a race like, a horse that basically all but bolted.
All will again.
Never again. Never ever we see something like that again. And then jumping, I mean, again, it's hard. I find it hard to pick a favourite race, but I went for Hardy Eustace 2005 champion hurdle with Archibald and the race that even now still polarises opinion. Was it one of the greatest losing rides ever, or was it the biggest balls up of all time?
Well, I think we have to sit on the fence with that one a little bit, don't we? But
for me, I thought it was a brilliant losing ride, and I don't think he'd have won in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was an amazing effort by Paul Carberry.
There you go. So some greatest races. For what it's worth, mine would be when Enable won the King George when everything went against her. But we'll get back to it here from you as well, because they're off and running 2:55 at Newcastle. Couple have fallen out the gates. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Danny, I was going to be very cruel and give you a call there.
Thank you.
But,
thank you. So much.
But don't worry about it. You're doing so much today. You're even going back to Wimbledon after this. You've got ground derbies to think about and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to try and adopt the mantle here. I think it's Smart Champion, one of the most frustrating horses in training. Smart Champion absolutely fell out under Luke Morris. Every time everyone tips him, he'll have Goodwood on his mind. By the way, next month he always just sort of looks like he's going to get there and doesn't. But up front,
seat very keen at the moment early on.
In the catbird seat. You know what the catbird seat is, don't you? It's what we call the box seat, isn't it? Just 3 or 4, with cover.
Is that actually right?
That's an American saying, yeah.
Really? I've never
Ross
heard
Briley
that.
once said it on the show and we all looked at him like he was mad. But yeah, it is an American saying. In the catbird seat. And catbird seat, of course, for Alan King has got Trushan coming up. Holly Doyle, of course, in the play. What do you make of Trushan coming up in half an hour? Been backed as well as Barry will tell us, I'm sure. Only made the frame in the race last year. But Dance Paris, one of the outsiders, does lead the way at the moment. Looking for some more fancied horses.
Jeremia used a lot of petrol to get to second, but now looks to settle quite nicely under Paul Morellon.
It's a tricky pronunciation, though. Is it Jeremia? I'm going to go with Jeremia. Where's Tiger Jet? This was the Gamble Pro that Barry liked. You'll have eyes on this one, Barry. You're in midfield on the inside.
Mid-div on the inside, yeah. Evaluation's your favourite 5.8. There's no real in-running news, to be perfectly honest with you, Dave. Dance to Paris is Betfair SP 70. He's currently trading at 50. He leads the field.
Yes, okay. They're going what you might call, it's just we're a staying race, and it could be like we're watching jumps because they're pretty much 30 miles an hour, if you believe the clock on the telly at the moment. Let's have a look for any of the other bigger players. Where's our one, Danny?
He's right next to Tiger Jet, just in the middle under Tom Marquand.
Yeah.
Still going okay. I mean, in midfield, Zoffi seems to be travelling quite sweetly. And on the rail, Auriferous for Andrew Balding. Also got Mellow Magic in the race, but both of those seem to be settling quite nicely.
And he adopted the mantle there as a commentator.
Yeah, he just straight into it, effortless.
Straight into it. I was
nice,
happy just to sit. It was like Kate Tracy was in. We could just let Kate just go on. He never misses a beat. All right, okay. So where are your hopes at the moment then? We'll try and, if you haven't got pictures, pin them out for you, as they tend to come mid sort of centre, don't they, down the home straight here. I find Newcastle round course almost impossible to call. Did you see that race at Nottingham in the week? Where the apprentice went about. Well, I mean, just some game, isn't it? It really is. But we approached the home turn, and Catbird Seat, unfortunately, looks like it's taken a bad step, and it goes from last to third. We're off the bridle as a result, but...
Have You Missed Me made rapid headway from halfway down the back straight to almost be 3 deep, but sort of nearly taking it up?
You're looking keenly at that. Where's Zoffi?
Zoffi is sort of, again, midfield.
He's going all right,
yeah, we're going okay at the moment,
Yeah, he's going all right. What's this on the inside? Reverend Hubert for the Hannons. So obviously Hannons in the stayers. Tiger Jet's got a lot of work to do for there. Looking at for the favourite, actually.
On the outside
evaluation,
of the back.
He's coming a little bit, isn't he? He's got loads to do, but he's
Zoffi.
I'll tell you what, Zoffi could be getting the toffee here for Posty. He'd be insufferable.
Come on, boy!
That's the first shout
give
of the day.
Give me that trophy.
Somebody's going to come and do you. You've come stand side. I'll tell you what, there's not a lot getting into. The Fav is on the far side.
Go on, Ben. Come on, Ben.
Let's get. He's a grinder.
Go on,
He wins,
son.
I think.
Go
You
on.
might have called the consolation
Come
race. Oh, when Posty goes, you know the decibels are going to go up in this studio. Well done,
Hand me the
Posty.
trophy. Come on,
yes. It's yours, man. Take it away. He thought he was going to have an afternoon in the pub and still get paid, but we're making him earn his
that out
corn.
the bag, honestly.
And just for you, and I love it when he gets a winner on this show, because he's absolutely going for it.
It happens all the time.
There's some cobwebs I need to dust off you, I think, in the meantime. But that's 16 to 1 shot, Barry.
Yeah, Betfair SP of 22. So well done to you, Charlie. Your runner-up, or Have You Missed Me trade at a low of 2.5, so 6 to 4. Evaluation was the horse on the far side. only traded at a low of 5. Outside of that, there wasn't many got into it. Mellow Magic traded at a low of 6. I think that was pre-race. But yeah, great shout, Charlie. Betfair SP22.
Lovely. There you go then. That's why you watch this show. Some big shouts. And between this panel, nice strong panel that we're establishing here, us guys, actually. We tend to give you a few winners. We started off with an absolute flyer. The Fav won the next as well. And then if you weren't sure about this race, hopefully a few of you had a few quid on Zoffy. Hugo Palmer then. He won the Pitman's Derby, as I said, 2 seasons ago. He's just taken out the consolation round. I'll tell you what, you've hosed up.
Yeah, he's won really, really well, hasn't he? Bless him. Yeah.
Is this guy going to go back for some sort of, I don't know, some sort of jumping or something, I suppose?
Has Hugo Palmer ever had a
We've
jumping
quoted
winner?
him for the Bet365 trophy, 10 from 20. Where's that?
Well, that's a good question. Where would that be? That is in, it's a mile 6 race at the Newmarket July meeting. Over mile 6 there. So, yeah, okay, so that would be, that is an early closer. Talking of early closers, Barry, I want to come to you about that last winner at Newmarket, if you don't mind, Rebel Romance, and see if we've got anything for that, because he's a horse that might travel, we think.
33 from 50 for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Interesting. Interesting. I think they think a bit of him, we're hearing, at the track. So if you were with that last winner at Newmarket, never been on turf before, you want to know he can potentially go either way, but that might be where they're heading. Interesting. Could he have another couple of wins in him? What you're looking intently at the screen, Dan. When Catbird's seat sadly went wrong, he almost took ours out.
I think
We've got an
us and
excuse
Barry,
now.
yeah, Barry as well. I think both of those were inconvenienced, and fingers crossed, whatever happens with commiserations to connections. But no, it's a good performance from Zoffy. And I think one from the back of the field that stayed on quite nicely when the deal was done was Winford, who was slow away, but has actually made some good progress from the back of the
He's
field.
a monkey. He's an absolute monkey. Does it every time, Danny.
Do you remember when he won? He went to that was one of those potential dangerous ridings, wasn't it, at Pontefract?
Yeah.
Look out for him in the Jamaican Flight Stakes or whatever it's called, at Pontefract, which probably Wordsworth should be running in.
Yeah.
Because that is proper tough. He's of course a distance winner, Winford, but yeah, he is a bit of a monkey. Not even Safi Osborne could get the best out of him, and she's having a lovely run at the moment, isn't she, in the saddle? Right, we are T-minus half an hour away from the Northumberland Plate. Cannot wait for that. True Shan, the hokey cokey that was the Royal Ascot Jamboree for him. It didn't happen, did it? He's carrying 120 under Holly Dawn. And Barry, just quickly, there has been money for him at 3:30, hasn't there?
Yeah, there has. He's into 5-1 favourite the last time I checked, Dave. So, yeah, there has been money for him, all right. Carry 10 stone 8 around there. Ooh, braver men than me.
And just to give you an idea of this, just before we go into it, we'll have plenty of time. He carries extra weight rather than everything else being out of the handicap. So we penalise the very good horses these days in the handicaps. Isn't it interesting they're not claiming on him? Very interesting. You can look at it one of 2 ways, Trushan. We'll find out whether anyone's going to tip him.
Would you have
after the
claimed off
next-
him?
I think it's surprising they're not. And I said yesterday to Kills when we were doing a feature show, and just going, I said, they're not here to win, are they? They're revving up for Goodwood again, aren't they? That's just Group 1. But yet, you could look at it, the fact that Holly's on, and they're going for this again. Maybe they are here to mean business. I mean, look, it's absolutely fascinating. That's the big one at 3:30 in a strong field again. Newcastle must be delighted with that field. We'll be going to that after the next at Newmarket, which comes up. We've got plenty of time, by the way, to get your socials in and have a chat before the Criterion Stakes. And some old rivals taking each other on here, Barry Orr.
There certainly are, yeah. They know each other well. Pogo in there, obviously Lanny Kesher second to him last race, Sunray Major as well. Base players an interesting proposition. The 3-year-old, along with Ever Given, another 3-year-old in the race. They get the weight for age allowance of £4, or of £4, is it? No, £9 they get as 3-year-olds. But I like Lanny Kesher. It's the horse I was with a couple of times last year, David. No second to Pogo in Haydock first time up this season. Pogo had the benefit of a couple of runs prior to that race and just denied. I just, maybe if the ground was a little bit better, I'd be really, really sweeting this horse. But I think he's going to be okay on it. A really fast run 7 is what he wants, and I'm sure he's going to get it here. You're going to have Pogo go a good clip up front, and potentially Art Duval could take Pogo on early doors and really set it up for one of the finishers. I do respect the 3-year-olds, but Lanikesh for me here, 3.15. We're going to look to set our own odds here, please, Danny. We're going to look to back it at 3.25. So if you click on 3.15 and then where it says... Sorry?
I've done it, 3.25. Yeah, I've done it. I'm
Look
learning.
how happy he is.
I'm learning. How much do you want, Barry?
He was shaking then, Barry, when you said set your own odds and all that sort of stuff, I can tell you.
Yeah, so it's actually 3.25 now at the back. So we'll go up to 3.35.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll put 25 quid on that, and that'll go into the lay section for someone to come in and bet and lay us that bet. So we're setting our own odds here: 3.35 Lanakesh for 25 quid.
That'll teach you
Perfect.
to cry too early before that and back to Barry. He'll get you doing another bet.
Yeah,
You
he will.
He wants another prize now. Look, but you're actually literally an old hand now with this, aren't you? So feeling
This
good?
is all right. I'm fine with the
Yeah, we're
exchange. But it's
matched
more
as well.
just in play. That's
And the
what
bet
I
is
want.
matched. That's the trade. Lanakesh. And you're right, Barry. After that run at Haydock, a lot of people were saying wherever he's going next time out, I'll be with him. He's one of these interesting horses that they've kept hold of course. Roger Varian off the mark, wasn't he, at Royal Ascot? Shadwell, the late Hamdan Al-Maktoum, of course. The dispersal of the horses. They just trimmed the operation massively, as most of you, I'm sure, will know. This was one of the guys they held on to, and he has had his problems. It'll be interesting to see if he can back up here. At 2-1, I'm going to take him on. I didn't like the first time cheap pieces about Sunray Major. I thought perhaps he was the eye catcher of the race, maybe, actually, when they met at Haydock as well. But I think at 13-2, we are overlooking the winner of that pogo. He's a friend of mine, and while I agree Art Duval is the worry, if William Buick tries to sort of blow his brains early doors, they will set it up for Lanakesh and Sunray Major. But Ever Given, I think, might also have a chance here. He's really tough. And the form of Epsom was franked as well in the week of his last win at Carlisle by Oscular, the horse that he beat there. But I just think Pogo, if he gets his own way, they're in trouble here. Let's put it this way. He's really tough. And Charlie Hills, I spoke to him and I heard a little bit of his interviewing earlier this year as well. He's always had such faith in this horse. And when they said, where are the new, no Batash anymore, who's it going to be? He said, we've still not seen the best of Pogo, which raised your eyebrows because he's a 6-year-old now and he looked like he'd lost his form a bit. He'll do for me. Posty.
I mean, the argument with that is, did he just get a very good ride at Haydock, isn't
Well, he is a horse that tends to need to lead, but Kieran Schumart's very good at this.
Yeah.
And when he won at Windsor, when he took his listed race out, when we were like, OK, that Hunt Cup second or whatever it was wasn't a fluke, when he had the rail and he was 33-1, he can get horses out of the comfort zone. He doesn't just need easy leads. I think he can go, get you out, stop and go again. So, look, I'm more than happy. There you go, Pogo, to bounce out and see them off. We're looking at the Railway Stakes, by the way, as well.
Blackbeard being really difficult. He's been
playing up. What's that about, Charlie? The way he's putting his two front legs and kind of scratching at the ground.
Well,
What's that?
he looks like he's really agitated by something, doesn't he? Now, I mean, whether this is like, I don't know, because he's backing up quickly after the Royal Ascot run, I don't know, but there's something that he is not very happy about, and every time they try and move him forward and present him to the stalls, he's going up in the end, and like you say, almost stamping his feet at the ground in temper. As in, I would often say that's a sign of.
And he's gone in like a lamb there then.
And and he's given up.
That's mad.
But you see that a bit like a child playing up, as in that there'll be a temper tantrum, and then all of a sudden it's like,
he's odds on, would you believe, Dave?
Not really.
Went off odds on, yeah.
Is that right? So we're watching it here. So they really went for him. Of course, he's fourth in the commentary. We're going to get a line in the commentary for him. So let's keep an eye on this because we've got another 7 or odd minutes. And Devo's back. I noticed you in the feature show comments, Devo, you mischievous individual. You were quite right though. Back Lanakesh anti-post. Hoping he can improve from my terrible punting week. Devo, don't say that. You need Rodders back in, your old mate. Don't need to steer you in the way. Well, look, let's hope you are, sticking with Posty. I don't know, can lightning strike twice and you can take out the Pitman's Derby? Let's find out.
We're going to go for the criterion first, aren't we?
Well, no, but I know that. I was trying to build up to the North.
Oh, sorry.
What,
so you want me to give my tip for the Pitman's Derby now?
I will do in a second, but once we just watch this Railway Stakes.
Right, sorry.
I was thinking he was an old pro, but he's obviously still got quite a bit to learn. Blackbeard is in front, by the way. Crispy Cat, who was totally taken out, wasn't he, by the Riddler in the Norfolk. He's there. I thought Chartrash was the interesting one, the one that beat Age of Kings, who reopposes in the Aga Khan colours. A really interesting horse for Andy Oliver here, actually. We're covering the Railway Stakes, if you're wondering what we're doing, because we might get some good form. That Borletti is well regarded. Look at this on the rail, Apache Outlaw. I don't know. He looked a little bit exposed last time, Blackbeard, doesn't he? But he's got the rail, which is
your horse
key.
gets the gap. He
this
wins.
Barletti's
This comes up. He's left it a bit too late. Has he come on then, the Aga Khan horse? I thought Blackbeard was a bit vulnerable. And there we go. Johnny Murtaugh's got one. Yeah, managed to get. Oh, just got him on the line, didn't he? He just. Yeah, he's got a decent horse there. Age of Kings should have beaten him on his debut, Barry, when they met. You'll probably remember that race. He wandered all over the place, and they both got big figures. And rather than go to Royal Ascot, they saved him for this. It's good to see Johnny Murtaugh with a really good 2-year-old coat. Of course, Go Bears Go won the race last year. Aidan O'Brien, he's only won that race now twice since 2009. And the horses that he's won it with, they don't roll off the tongue. Painted Cliffs,
Right.
Van Beethoven, who we sort of remember.
Okay, right.
But it would suggest that it's a Plan B race. He has got there, hasn't he? Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
Just.
Oh, there's no doubt, yeah.
Yeah, and there was an eye catcher there, Apache.
Nice to see Johnny with a
outright.
good one for his old retainer.
Absolutely. Yes, because that was, we're talking about Frankie Dettori and John Gosden. There wasn't always a happy marriage that, Barry, was it?
No, it certainly wasn't, but they had a lot of success together, both domestically and internationally, and obviously then he got the Coolmore job. But when he was riding for John Ox, the Aga Camp very early, when he had his trials and tribulations as a teenager into his early 20s, John Ox stood by him, and the Aga Camp was the biggest patron in the yard at the time and also stood by him. So they've obviously a very long and deep relationship, him and the Aga, and great to see him have a nice one for him.
Yeah, stunk in the betting, which is a surprise.
Did you watch the documentary on Johnny?
I watched bits and bobs. I haven't been able to sit
It's
through
very
it all
good.
yet. Was it? Yeah,
Very good.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting. Yeah, just a big analysis of all the highs and lows he's had, I guess, in his career. And
Group
what
one
a
Johnny, of
what a
course, he was
jockey he
cool,
was
wasn't
as well. Though, even that ride on Dancing Rain in the Oaks is one that always springs to mind.
Hey, we're talking about greatest races. He would have ridden some, wouldn't he? When he had that association with Stout, I remember it was different gravy.
Yates in the Gold Cup. And
Yates,
stuff like
of
that.
course, the Classic 4, wasn't it? That was probably one of my favourite races to have analysed ever at the Racing Post. So I wouldn't say it was the greatest race of all time.
Yates' 4th Gold Cup.
Yeah, it was just an absolute pleasure. That I think it was all over him as well, which helps. So I was like, I think I called him the king, and they let it through because he was genuinely the king, wasn't he? Great statue as well at Ascot as well. Right, that means we go back to Newmarket now, and myself and Barry have painted our colours to the mast. I'm on Pogo. Barry thinks that Alana Cash will reverse form. How about the two panellists sitting next to me? And we'll give you the honour.
I'm going for my favourite trainer, Hugo Palmer.
Recency bias Posty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, very fickle.
You really are. Always have been, always will be. Was in the saddle, was at the sales,
Yeah,
is in here.
Massively, yeah. But Ever Given, I think he's, quietly progressive horse in all honesty. As in, he was well backed, I think, when he won at Chester on his seasonal return. I don't know really what. Maybe he came up a bit short in the Sandy Lane at Haydock on his second start, but then I thought he was good beating Oscula. Step up to 7 seemed to suit well, and maybe there's a bit more mileage in this trip for him as well. And as you say, form of that has been franked by the second, and yeah, I think as a 3-year-old in this sort of race, like I say, I just think there's mileage with this horse going forward at this trip.
Yes, I can see where you're coming from there. He's on an upward trajectory and he's honest, isn't he? Are you doubling
I'm with
in
him
this?
as well, yeah.
You are?
I just think he's 2 from 2.
The
over
magpie, as
7
Barry
furlongs.
would
The
call him.
jinx.
Danny the Jinx Archer.
The sense of GT jinx.
Yes.
But no, off 108, he wouldn't have to find much to get involved here. If you can write off the Sandy Lane win, obviously the form's been franked. Obviously, base player was 3rd. Interesting to see how he gets on here. But I think with Ascula franking it at Hamilton, I think with not getting any penalties either, I just thought made a pill.
Base player could be open to improvement. I suppose if you like him, you have to think that and like I say, that form was upheld, wasn't it? Hugo Palmer, one runner in this in the last 10 years. It was a winner. Can you think it was a very well-established horse that he won it with?
Hugo Palmer.
I mean, if Keith Melrose was here, this would be answered already.
Really?
Yeah. Home of the Brave. Went to Godolphin, didn't he?
Yeah.
Really nice, front-running, honest horse. Hugo does tend to get longevity out of these horses. Didn't work out with Ebro River, but he did then win the next, of course, at Newcastle, and he bids to go for the guys here. Interesting. I know what you mean. Lanakash, he hasn't won since his debut, and he has had some problems. Probably the most talented horse in here, I would say, on his day.
What do you think
Major,
of the
very
Godolphin
talented.
horse?
Art Duval. He's a bit more exposed than some of them. And again, the York run was fine, wasn't it? Valiant Prince, I think, in June. But 12 to 1, so he'd come on for that, you'd imagine. But will he spoil the pace angle for Pogo? We're about to find out. We're watching, we can just see the replay here. Sunray Major was the one that I ummed and ahed about. Paul Keeley, I think, has still put it up in his sizzlers. He certainly put it up in the weekend as a big hope for him. I think every tips that we've got at some point has gone for Sunray Major. He hasn't quite delivered yet. Remember, he was supposed to win the Balmoral, wasn't he?
But is that because he's one of these horses that sucks you into thinking next time is the time?
Well, the cheek pieces suggest that they are not happy with how he's been racing. And they delivered him, it was Frankie last time, I think, wasn't it? Or did Frankie ride?
Frankie last time, yeah.
And he went for one run. And to me, he's sort of flattening out. Again, like some horses that we've already seen on this show. Starwell that we saw in the previous race. I wonder if we've had the caught between a mile and 7 furlongs.
Yeah,
And this
there's
is
every chance.
until the finish. This is a lot of downhill racing here. So tactics will be key. I like the front running Pogo, Lanacash for Barry. We're all having a fun afternoon. Let us know you're out there. Let us know your greatest race. Who wins the Irish Derby? Oh, half an hour away we are from that. What a clash! I think Westover just walks it. But I'm really very, very excited.
What do you think about the Rob Hornby jockeying off?
Bit much.
No
made
issue
of
with
it. Bit much made of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sport.
I don't think they had to have Colin Keenan, but it's the game.
I tell you, Colin Keane will be worth £7 to that horse up the Curragh.
You think so? Even at the Curragh?
Yeah.
Who was it that was saying Graham Motion, wasn't it, at Ascot with Buick riding the horse who was at second the Coronation, said having local jockey is
And it was a
key in
great
these
ride,
races.
by the
Yeah.
way, on that filly in the
Do you buy into
Coronation.
that?
I'm not going to say
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, I think probably.
Ask you, Rad Ortez.
I'm
Oh,
not
poor
sure I'd
lad.
ask him.
He was quickly on the plane back, wasn't he? All right, we're out. And the interesting thing to say here is that Sunray Major is right up there. Pogo is getting involved. And Barry called this because Pogo, and this is what I wanted to see being a Pogo backer. He's gone straight to the front. Don't get involved in any eyeballing. Art de Valle's in second. Lanacash on the heels. Old rival Sunray Major. The 3-year-olds being played at the back. How you feeling, boys?
I'm happy at the moment.
Barry?
Yeah, I'm happy out. Yeah, they're all travelling well in themselves. Sunray Major's into 284. He's the mover in running mark.
Interesting. All right. Pogo at the moment still the one to catch, and I just love this. I love it when he gets into a rhythm, but is he going to set it up? He's given them a little bit of a breather now, and the closers are starting to come. Tell you what, Ever Given definitely catch him eyes. Could be a quick double for Poste, could he? Lanacash all of a sudden starting to feel the pinch. What will Sunray Major find? Pogo keeps going. Art de Val having a crack. Don't think he's going to get him. Maybe it will be Sunray Major. Ever Given now switches. Pogo still the one to catch. This was overlooked, guys. Win, lose or draw. It's a tough front run of this. What will Sunray Major find? This is where the rising finish should play into his favour. It looks like Sunray Major might just get Pogo here, I think. The cheek pieces are going to work, are they? This could have been a Frankie ride. Go on, Pogo. Bounce him off.
Aye.
Come on, here we go. He's found more. Love this horse. Charlie Hills has got him up and running, and away he goes. Oh, he's a right old monkey, that Sunray Major. I thought he was sure to pick him up, Barry. Did the exchange market?
Yeah, it certainly did as well, Dave. Sunray Major traded at a low on the Betfair Exchange of 1.34. So a 3-1 on chance Sunray Major. Lanacash traded at a low of 2-1 in running, and Pogo hit a high. I don't think he traded too high at all in running. He hit a high of 16.5, would you believe, when Sunray Major came to challenge him. Only small money matched at that 15 quid. But what a game. He really is a horse I've come around to off the back of that. And Lanacash obviously hasn't run his race because he shouldn't be that far behind him on their Haydock running. But he seems to give his running every time, Pogo. You know, he wears his heart and his sleeve off in front and puts it up to everything. And yeah, really likeable horse.
Brilliantly named. And he reminds me of one of my other favourite horses in training. In fact, my favourite horse in training, which is Solid Stone, who's also extremely well named. Didn't quite show his best, did he, in the Hardwick last week? He'll be back. But Pogo, brilliantly named. Bounce out, catch me if you can. And what an attitude, unlike the runner-up.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to say, isn't it, as well? Again, a big kudos to Kieran Schumacher again. He's very impressive, isn't he, at the moment?
He's run all right, the 3-year-old, isn't he? I mean, you're screwing your faith, Danny.
I don't know why we switched. I don't know why we just didn't keep following through where we were. But anyway,
We had a nice bit of cover, and then I thought he was just going to unleash, but it didn't work out. But yeah, Sunray Major, a cliff horse wouldn't be following that after that performance. You know, at the line, Pogo's gone and won by a couple of lengths in the end.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sunray Major goes.
Newmarket.
Now let's have a look at this. Have they come close together? We're watching the head-on of the Criterion Stakes at 3:15. It's definitely going to be between the first two, you'd imagine. Now, is he going? I mean, Pogo's keeping a straight line, isn't he?
Maybe they'll throw them both out.
And you'll finally pick it up. I didn't even get the. Oh yeah! I think there was a little bit of Kieran Schumacher switched his whip by the look of it, and he had a little bit. He's won too well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's won.
Not. If anything, it will just be to maybe have a word with Kieran, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Lanacash is disappointed there. Barry and loads of you, I imagine, were on that, and you have to wonder why they kept him. He must do some great things at home. And it was just weather, like Universal Order, who disappointed me from the previous race. These horses, you want to see them string two together. So when you back them after a decent return run, you've got that in the back of your mind. Will they put two together? And he's run too badly to be true. But that is a lovely animal, that. and he deserves to have a crack again at some of the better boys. He might even go to the Sussex, mightn't he, or something like that. Maybe the Lennox Stakes or something.
Yeah. That you'd think would be a fit for him, wouldn't it?
And great to see Charlie Hills. He's always had maximum faith in this chap, and lovely horse.
7 from 8 for the Lennox, Dave.
That's the quote, is it? Okay, so Glorious Goodwood coming our way. A reminder, we will be with you from the Tuesday till the Saturday of that, the last big flat festival, really, isn't it? I know that you've got the Ebor, but this is the last big summer one, really, isn't it? It's the Tuesday to the Saturday one. Did we enjoy the 5 days of Ascot? You went?
Yeah, I went on the Tuesday. I had a really good day. Yeah.
Lots of people said it was very spacious, very chilled out.
Yeah.
Could you see that from your vantage point? You could?
Just.
Car Park 7, wasn't it? Not Car Park 1 for Poste. Did you go, Arch?
I was working from home. I did it from home this year. But no, I mean, it looked some good results, some good racing. You can never go, Ascot from a viewing perspective. I love it.
Something was said about the quality of the racing. Well, Tom Segal, our voice on that, whether we were seeing the actual real, are the horses that good? It was a breath of fresh air. And what I do like about it as well was we didn't have that Cheltenham build-up. That was quite enjoyable, and it's unpredictable, isn't it?
I think the worldwide appeal as well. It was good that Nature Strip, won very readily. I think
Highlight
it was
the
important
meeting?
for the meeting to have that, especially when Wesley Ward's horses, Campanelle ran okay, but the rest really did flop.
Yeah. Wes didn't have the greatest week, did he? And if it hadn't have been for Campanelle in the stewards room last year, it would have been 2 ducks, of course. So we need these guys to come back.
Yeah, and as Barry said, is it important that Irad, he didn't have much experience at Ascot? Would Frankie have done better? I don't know. It's not a
And
question
again,
that's easy
lots
to
to be said
answer.
about that. We didn't really think about the Wes Ward thing and Frankie not riding out and going on holiday before. Could that have been a story potentially?
I suppose potentially.
Wes might have caught wind of this. I don't know. You have to remember that Wes got massive backing from Coolmore, and they all have a big say on it. Anyway, we're reflecting on Royal Ascot. What a week it was. But Glorious Goodwood will be just that. Let's hope the sun shines, because when it rains there, it can turn it on its head very, very quickly indeed. But are we a fan of Goodwood generally? Don't have to say you
Love
are.
it.
You do?
Yeah.
Panama?
No.
I would have had an absolute odds-on certainty.
Every show.
Yeah, he does. It's like, I mean, honestly, the people we have to work with here, Barry, honestly.
Well, look, you go from a top hat to a Panama, don't you? You wouldn't wear a Panama.
I think it's, I don't know.
You strike me as as a bit of a social comedian.
Someone of your sort of era of life is probably ready for the Panama. It's not quite for me yet.
Do you wear a flat cap, a tweed flat
No.
cap at the point of point?
No.
See, I do.
Yeah, I knew you would.
I do. I get it straight
I bet you turn up.
I've got the shooting jacket on.
And the shiny
The
wellies.
hunters,
Exactly.
not hunters. We don't go, what have I got? I can't remember what they are.
You've literally come out decked out of Country Life or whatever. Yeah, I can imagine it.
Like one of your solicitor owner riders that comes up, turns in the dentist that used to ride and all that sort of stuff. Yes, I don't mind mixing with the crowd, that's for sure. And we'll be doing that at Glorious Goodwood. Cannot wait for that. But we'll be with you every Saturday. That's the plan, God willing. Even today, when they threatened to pull the plug on the network around Lambeth Walk. Don't worry about it, we're with you, and we'll be with you every Saturday in 2022. Jumps game coming back and all that sort of stuff. Loads of inquests about Cheltenham. We'll be having it all, won't we? But the drama at the moment is concentrating back up to Newcastle. The final race of the day there is the Northumberland Derby, and I tell you what, Barry, this is proper gamble time now on the Fav.
Yeah, it really is. Into 4.6 now. Has been matched at a high of 11 on the exchange. So there's been plenty of money for it, for sure. It's, what's it been to be the highest rated horse ever to win a handicap in the UK?
This would be right up there, Barry. Right up there.
Yeah. 4.6. I think ridiculously short. 7.4. Valley Forge. Radzinski, who was the favourite this time yesterday, a bit friendless in the market at the 9.4. 12 Summer Night. 13 One Smooth Operator. 16 bar, a whole host of horses there. I fancy a real moody one here, and it's 6 places on the Betfair Sportsbook, Danny, and we're going to go to the Sportsbook. So if you toggle over to the Betfair Sportsbook, we're going to look to have 25 quid each way, the horse I fancy in it, and that is a horse, 25 quid each way. I just need to scroll down. Uber Cool for Jane Chapman at 28 to 1. An 8-year-old, been off the track since November 21, but it's a decent record off the back of a break. One after off 89 days in Yarmouth, and in Chester a couple of years back, one after a break of 959 days. Robert Tart, that was his first winner back after his own sabbatical that day. He held his form well last season, wasn't beaten that far behind Roginski in Ascot last year, beaten about 4 lengths. That was a decent run. And he's the sort of horse that could pop up here at a big price. So because there's 6 places on the Betfair Sportsbook, 25 quid win, and we're going to have each way at 28 to 1. So 25 quid each way at 28 to 1. Uber cool for Jane Chappenheim and Robert Tart.
Interesting.
I think he's a player, Dave.
Caught my eye, this one.
I think he's a real player. It was him and Summer's Night for me. I thought Uber cool, fresh. Jane Chapelheim's horses are in good form.
Wasn't it great to see during the week when we won 15 races, different trainers, and then when they all started doubling up, she was up there with Charlie and Aidan and her picture. Brilliant to see. Again, Royal Ascot can do that.
Her and Adam Kirby might be in the tower with Reach of the Moon.
Don't go there. Burnt fingers. Barry got it right the lay. Yeah, that was just weird, wasn't it? As it was watching Trushan do the hokey cokey, but Uber Cole and Summer Night, who Paul Keely has put up in his sisters.
Yeah, I'm a big, Sir Mark Prescott. I think you've got to respect in this event. But I think the big thing is the form of one of the races running already. He was 5th on the return. Nate the Great was then 2nd in the Henry II. Soapy Stevens has won at Chester. And going gone, Jim Boyle. He doesn't get a lot of big horses, but in the Lost in Translation colours for Taylor O'Dwyer, he ran a screamer to finish 4th at Royal Ascot in the Ascot handicap. So Mark's, I don't think they were firing at that time. There was a bit of a rumour going around that they weren't fully fit, and I think now he could be a serious player.
A few people saying that about Sir Mark, yet to quite go. You always associate sort of late June is when he really starts taking off, and these horses do those incredible sequences. But it's hard to look when you're looking at the RTF on your cards in the Racing Post website. RTF means run to form, and the higher the percentage, the more they're running to their actual mark. He's 75%. He just needs the winners to start flowing now, and this is being backed actually. Trushan, where do you sit with him?
Do you think the run to form thing is a better barometer for trainer form than just actual winners?
If you'd have looked at the Hugo Palmer thing where it said naught from whatever it was, pretty alarming. If you looked at his run to form, it wasn't that bad. It's when you start going under 50 is obviously you start thinking, I'm not sure, and then you look into the SPs and all that sort of stuff, the horses, what horses are expected to run well, if you like, by the market. Trushan.
Oh, I mean, I love seeing this.
No horse has ever won this age-old handicap with more than 9.10, ever.
Is that right?
£2 higher than when 6th in the race last year before he then went and won his Group 1s throughout the year. And again, it's a carbon copy, isn't it? This wasn't supposed to happen again if Royal Ascot had been wet. So you're against him, obviously.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not with him, but I do think it's incredibly sporting. I think it's a really great thing to have him pitch up in a race like this.
Did we ever see him going off this price? I mean, I really like Valley Forge, who was the anti-post favourite after he won at Haydock when we put him up on this show. David Probert, he got a treble that day, didn't he? And things didn't go to plan, I think we can say that, and David still managed to get him up, beating a Mark Johnson horse. He just looks perfect for me. And
but is this the wave of like him being
a bit of inflated price here?
In being a bit of a public horse, Trushan?
I think so. Well, let's hand that over to Barry. Is this public money, Barry?
I'd say there's an element of that, yeah. He's a well-known horse. Obviously, he's one of the top stayers in the UK. Well, he is a top stayer in the UK. He's well respected, and obviously he was in the headlines last week for not appearing at Royal Ascot more than anything. So 10 stone 8 though, Janie, at this price at 7 to 2 as a layer, you're kind of rubbing your hands. He's drawn 10 as well, so it's not the greatest of draws either. How are they going to ride him? Like he needs to be held up mid-div maybe.
He's quite keen, isn't he?
You know,
yeah,
quite keen. He could find traffic problems around here. They're not going to go any gallop like we saw it in the Vase in the consolation race. They didn't go any gallop till they turned into the straight, and then they fan across the track. You can expect to see more of that here. So whether it's going to be a real true run 2 mile where he'd show that he's a champion stayer or not is debatable in my opinion.
What an end to the show. We've got 2 more races. Irish Derby coming up at 3:45. Belter stuff coming your way. Evan Nierenberg, welcome back here. Evan, I've seen you on some of our other shows commenting away. Always an absolute pleasure to have you on, my man. Why is Trushan so short? Odds well beaten in this last year, lower weight. Well, hopefully, we've argued that at a case against him. They got 10-8, of course, because we penalise these horses going into a handicap company. Of course, in the old days, Arkle used to carry 12-7, all that sort of stuff in jumps. Jesus. That's how I like to pronounce this one. Northumberland Plate winner. Rainbow Dreamer, stablemate. Is it still Rainbow Dreamer each way? Is this the knockout double?
Yeah, this is where
You're showing your dual purpose MO here.
Yeah, I
right?
suppose that's true. Yeah, I didn't even really think of it like that.
Oh, that one ran over jumps. Let's tip it. That's quite what's happening. I love this horse.
That's my strategy.
Dreamer.
I mean, he was rated 110.
He did me so many favours when he went on that roll on the all.
Around the year ago. He's good on the all. They're 7 from 16. He's had a wind operation. And he ran okay. He ran okay behind Earl of the Cotswolds, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
He'd
just
beaten him the time before.
and he's come down another 4 since then.
He
So
was beaten in this race last year, but we had a terrible start in the race.
Yeah.
He loves the all-weather, and like Sod's Law, if you're back in Trushan, you've got to maybe back the stablemate, says Charlie Post as well. Valley Forge for me. Radzinski, I think a lot of us were expecting to see Harry Davis on. If you know Trushan at the start of the week, the go-to £5 claimer. Radzinski met trouble in this race last year. He's an old favourite, isn't he? Hugo Palmer going for the quick double. You're jumping
I'm
off.
off him now.
You're off ship.
Yeah, not my favourite trainer.
You are. You. I was going to be a bit cruel there and call you a rat because you're jumping ship. And I've kind of inadvertently done
I tell you what, it's lucky I like you because one day soon I'm just going to lamp you on this show.
You wouldn't be able to reach. Oh, good stuff. And I tell you what, I've had a few winners, and I don't think any of us are going to wrestle this off you today.
No, I mean,
It's very annoying.
yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I said through gritted teeth. All right, will Posty get up? The Pitman's double. There you go.
That'd
You
be
won.
nice,
I mean,
yeah.
that did half wins off, didn't it?
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
That really was a massive highlight. I know the social guys love that on the clips as well. A reminder then who we are going for. One Smooth Operator was backed. It's going out a little bit more. Tell us about the trade again, Barry, and the final update of the market, please.
Yeah, so it's 6 places on the Betfair Sportsbook each way punters. So I've backed Uber Cool each way to avail of those 6 places. Jane Chappenheim's horse, but your favourite still 7-2 Trushan. 5 Valley Forge just come in for good support. Dave, you'll be glad to hear. So not that far behind the favourite. Now he's a 4-1 chance, 7-2 Trushan. Rajesh is a 12, 18 One Smooth Operator.
Super.
14.5 Summer Night, 12.5 Spirit Mixer. That's strong as well.
That's the other one Kills has put up for Andrew Balding, the stablemate of Valley Forge. Said he actually run an improved race when 4th last time, was on a roll before that. Has all weather form. Callum Hutchinson, who we saw to great effect,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Yeah, Wayne Hutchinson's son.
That was on
Oh,
Coltrane.
yeah.
There we go, got there in the end. The Chester Cup second, of course, who won the Ascot Stakes. Such a shame to hear about Arcadian Sunrise, by the way, guys, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah,
news.
it was really sad, yeah.
Absolutely awful. What a lovely animal he was, and thoughts with connections there. We won't be seeing him again, sadly. Okay, all right. We're getting some quotes in from the track. I might give that to you after this because we go to the Curragh. We've kept an eye on the Railway Stakes. Who was with Johnny Murtaugh's colt? He was trimmed in for the Guineas there. All that sort of talk. It's all revving up here towards Westover versus Tuesday. Or are you with something else? We'll get lots of social reaction after this. They're going in then, guys. Where are we actually expecting Trushan to sit? Mid-div?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
Hope for a pace collapse. It's always a bunch finish in this. Cue something winning by 10. But it's
Tribal art to get out in front and drop anchor.
And
Del Fanning will drop anchor.
He's not been unbacked either, has he, Barry? He's coming in a
No,
bit.
he's at the 10.
Yeah. From stall 20 and 17 has won this the past 2 seasons. Good luck! It's the Pitman's
Oh, he was
Derby,
left.
as they call it. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, no.
Oh, the pace angle's
Okay,
been
oh,
left
my
on the
goodness
stores.
gracious me.
Pace angle completely left.
No, he's absolutely walked out. He's gone. Add another 5 zeros onto that one. The Tribal Art, unfortunately, if you're with the gamble there.
Trushan
walked
pretty
out.
handy, guys, early.
This is interesting,
Yeah, he's a
isn't
bit
it?
keen, isn't he?
Yeah.
He can be keen, but this hasn't stopped him winning Group 1s in the past, Cadrans and lights, you know, that. But it is now the Blue Cap, which I'm tempted to say is Golden Flame, Valley Forge's old rival. So hopefully David Probert, who's he's in second there for the Probes.
Yep.
He is, isn't he? Blimey, more handy than I thought Valley Forge would be. The Melrose winner, who beat Summer's Knight, Danny's pick there. Bandinelli, definitely going to improve for going back onto the synthetics, but is he coming into it in the form he was earlier on? He's got a nice sit in 4th as well. Solent Gateway, that's the other one for Hugo Palmer, looking for the big Pitman's double. Anything catching your eye, Posty?
Rainbow Dreamer, I mean, he's travelling really good at the moment. I mean, early doors in this, I mean...
Not that you're biased or anything.
But not that I'm biased. I mean, Radzinski's got a midfield sit. I think he's travelling a little bit keenly with Harry Davis there. He seems to keep having to re-grab at the reins, so doing a bit more than ideal.
Trushan looks a little bit fizzy. Holly just held him back there, but I think Radzinski as well. Uber Cool does look slightly keen under Robert Tatar, but
Yeah.
Trushan, it's a little bit messy there around that turn.
But this is interesting because your selection is going to go and put it up to Golden
Yeah.
Flame, and I don't want to say that he's in here to set the pace for the
I knew you were
favourites,
going to say that,
but,
yeah.
but something tells me Rainbow Dreamer might be in here to set the pace for Trushan. I think so at the moment. So Chauvelin out the back, of course, for last year's winning stable, Jim Goldie, Paul Hannigan on. I won't pun it, guys. One smooth operator out the back. Where's All Right Sunshine? He loves the gaff here. He's taking a keen ball. Who Dares wins all these lovely old horses that we got here. Red Verdon, of course, we got in here as well. Absolutely superb stuff. Barry, we're on the far side. We're about a third dong or two.
Yeah, Valley Forge, your favourite in running at 3.95, 5.2 Trushan, 8.2 Rajinsky, 11.5 Spirit Mixer, some Bandinelli as well is shortened up into around the 19 mark. But your favourite Valley Forge?
Yeah, he might not want to be too far off the pace.
It's a sensible gallop here, it looks, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Spirit Mixer's catching the eye, isn't he, in the Jeff Smith colours. Persian Punch memories there for you, all that there. Island Brave is there as well. He likes the track. Course and distance, whenever Heather Main and Benoit, did I say it? The other £5 superstar out there at the moment. Wojcicki's beautiful.
Yeah, he's got into a really good slot now, hasn't he?
No message. Do you think they'll come stand side like they did with Zoffi in the last race? Try and ping up that rail.
Well, I think we'll definitely see him fan across the track, aren't we, for sure?
For sure. All right, we are turning in there.
Trushan is really struggling to hold his position. I think now he's just starting to get keen again. Holly's trying to keep him going, but I think the one I'd like to
Uber Cool's making
Spirit
a move,
Mixer.
guys, as well, isn't he? He's here for business, isn't he? He's gone from about last to about, what, 8th at the moment?
Luke Morris has got to get going on my boy there, Summers
Look at
Night.
Trushan. Trushan's got on the back of Valley Forge, who was just about last off the bridle. Spirit Mixer there as well. The stragglers have got a lot of work to do. Uber Cool just feeling the pinch.
Valley Forge travelling great.
Here comes the
Dave.
Valley then. What's Trushan going to find? Wait, surely. Spirit Mixer looks like he might be the danger at this point, I think. Anything else calling? I think, I don't know.
Go on, Luke. Get him going on Summers Night. Get him through that gap, Luke.
Go on, here comes Trushan. This is remarkable. I'll be writing about this for years. I think he's going to get there, is he? Spirit Mixer at the moment. Paul Keeley is...
Go on,
Trushan.
Go on, Trushan.
This is absolutely magnificent. Is he going to do it?
Go on.
Go on, get him up, Ollie. He's going to get there.
He
Wow!
does. Brilliant.
Unbelievable scenes here. And listen, if you can't get excited about that, you're going to get excited about nothing. Handicap, one off a mark of 120. The best stayer in Britain and Ireland has won the Northumberland Plate. He was 6th last year off a £2 lower mark. He didn't make it to Royal Ascot, and here we see him landing an almighty gamble, Barry.
Yeah, massive gamble. Match at a high of 11 on the Betfair Exchange. A Betfair SP of 4.7, so 7-2 from 10-1 on the Exchange. Your runner-up Spirit Mixer hit a low of 5-2 on, but what a game performance and well ridden by Holly Doyle. She's such a great partnership with this horse. She pulled her whip through into the right hand and got down into the drive position. She wasn't going to be denied. Great performance. It's the highest mark ever carried to a victory by a handicapper in England. So we're watching history here, boys. What a privilege.
Absolute privilege. And I'll tell you what, she's not giving him that hard a race, has she?
No, brilliant.
In unison, you both. No! I mean, what we're watching here, look, he's won by, favourite wins by a head, people would be saying out there. This race had never been won before by a horse that carried more than 9-10. I mean, you can see why they were so desperate to run him at Royal Ascot, of course. The ground went against him again.
We're seeing 2 stars, aren't we, Dave? You know, you've got a brilliant stare, but also, you know, the jockey on top. She won a Prix de Diane last week on Nashwa, showing a brilliant ride, and she's again used Tactical Nous to win here. You know, she's a serious pilot. She's on Stradivarius. What about the Stradivarius ride comes up?
Maybe the Stradivarius. Oh, yeah.
The social will clip that up now.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So, look, Goodwood Cup is on again, the Group 1, and isn't it
11-4 from 4-1.
Who's got the
Pretty
fours?
good Cup.
Who took the four? I'll tell you who's really caught the eye there, guys. Summer Night.
Yeah.
He has absolutely trounced home, hasn't he? Too late in the day, and he needed that. And St Mark's horse is not quite there. Hugo Palmer's horse, remember? Poor Callum Hutchinson must have thought he had it there, didn't he? Yeah. And Paul Keeley will be... he's at a barbecue at the moment. The bourbon just got poured, I would imagine, because he had the second place there. But look, you're right. You don't mind losing out to this because this is history witnessed. You will get it in your members club, of course, in your paper tomorrow. The digital edition is at 9 p.m. And what a time to tell you, the offer is still out there. Your first 3 months, 50% off if you go and join in the members club today. All the unparalleled coverage here at the Racing Post. Headlines are plenty. And look what's coming up next. A classic matchup. It seems sad to leave Trushan. You'll be getting all the quotes coming around about 6 p.m. Go to the analysis box if you want them. Alan King, Kingy. Let's try and get him on before Goodwood, shall we? Absolutely superb. Great to see. And they must have been so frustrated, mustn't they, when he didn't go to Royal Ascot last week. And it's all worked out beautifully. Who was with him? Sean Fennessy says, Holly must be considered one of the best there is now.
Oh, I mean, you know, the thing that's going to... She's ridden Trusham with aplomb, but say she got a Gosden job, you know, obviously the pressure's going to go up again if she's on hot favourite after hot favourite in these big Group 1s. But at the moment, you know, her and Tom can't really do much wrong. They're two, you know, not just rising stars, but they're established stars now, and hopefully, you know, carrying the sport forward. It's important, you know, and you talk about women in racing or women in sport and the need for young role models. You know, you couldn't get a better one than Holly Doyle, could you?
No, the pocket rocket. Absolutely. Wonder what price now for big jobs next season. She's obviously got the retainership, and with Nashua, she won the Classic, as you say. When you're hot, you're hot, and she has done so much in recent years.
She's ridden a Classic winner now, and she's multiple Group 1 winners. Like,
wasn't the first woman to win a Classic, of course. It was Sybil Vogt, wasn't it? Won the German Classic, of course, who rode at Royal Ascot. Yeah, Sybil. Yeah. All the Faulty Towers references we were making.
Yeah. But you know, but like whether she, you know, she's going to be a contender for these sort of jobs now, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know, she's established at that sort of level, and I mean, crikey, she rides 150 plus winners every year, so she has every right to be considered for these sort of opportunities when they arise. You know.
Got a Royal Ascot win on the commentary. I call her the Queen of Royal Ascot. You know, and all that sort of stuff. She's quite going to plan the rest of the week for her, but
no, even in France, I don't know how many rides she's had in France, but she gave Nashua a great ride in the Prix de Dion.
Yeah, right, let's go to Barry, because it's match-up time. We've been doing this as true tribes go to war. It looked like Tuesday was going to go off fav. Not a bit of it, Barry. We both like Westover, but by how much?
Yeah, Westover strong at 2.46 now. Oh, hold on, 2.58 now Tuesday. So she's coming in significantly as well. There's not a whole lot between them, Dave. It looks a dead match at the head of the market, according to the bet. And Hannibal Barca is 14, 25 Bisbedale. Lionel, 22 on the exchange. French Claim has come in for support. That's 21, 65 Boundless Ocean. And Glory Days is 110. So the ground doesn't seem too bad there at all. Westover, we're with Westover here, Dan. We're going to have 50 quid win. Just a straightforward, happy to be a price taker at 244. Tuesday has come in for some support. Was 275, but it's 2.6 now. But yeah, around the 6 to 4 mark, 75 to 50 will do us. Westover here for Wellchild, our last bet of June for that charity.
Looks like someone's trying to seriously make. I'm looking at the exchange, but it looks like someone's really having a go at Tuesday here. So we might still see flip-floppers. I mean, that is a proper queue of money, isn't it? I can see there. The market suggests it's a 2-horse race. You would give a squeak to Lionel, though. Isn't it brilliant how these connections just get to name them Lionel or Simon, Steve, Terry? You know, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know you've mentioned about the concern with the ground, and maybe that is the case, but he just looks like a thorough stay.
I think the ground would be all right. They've had a bit of rain. It looks all right to me. Westover, I think, would ideally like some cut. Yeah,
he's very much a work in progress, this horse, isn't he? You know, and I mean, he came from sort of a long way back in both those maidens at Newbury, but was eye-catching, and then got the job done at Goodwood, saw it out resolutely, and the track, I think, will very much suit him. Whether he's quite at the level at this stage of his career of the top two, I'm not sure, but I think he's a value alternative.
So 2 for Tuesday, the filly.
If we're going on about the top 2 in the market.
That would be the way you sway. Me and Barry for Westover, and we really like him, Barry. Are we going to lengthen the odds here?
Yes, we certainly can as well. For our last charity bet, obviously we backed it on the exchange, but because it's the last day for Wellchild, we're going to try to see, Danny, please, if we can get a few extra quid for the charity. So I see you've already got lengthened our odds up there. Lengthen your odds. So Westover to win by a length or more at 2 to 1. We're going to take that. We're going to have 50 quid on that as well. So that's a new concept on Betfair on the Sportsbook, where every race, every day, you can choose to back a horse to win and the distance. It's in the top bar. Obviously, it just reads as lengthen your odds, and it's really been hugely popular with our customers on the Sportsbook. So watch out for that, everyone, especially if there's a short price favourite. I think you fancy all the horses within the race will be quoted within that section.
We've sung the praises of whoever named that as well before. We saw Pogo, the best named horse today. That's definitely the best named feature out there. So that's your distance betting. All right, great stuff. We're going to try and knock it out the park. The final race here this afternoon on RP Live. It's flown by, it's fair to say. The pub beckons, worry not. Yeah, we will take you for a drink.
I'm on a sabbatical from the pub at the moment.
Are you having a split?
Of course.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Brief one.
You're like the cat that's got the cream today because you knocked out the 16 to 1 winner. Can I give you a line on Zoffy as the horses swirl round at the start of that famous Curragh start over the mile 4? Who will be crowned the Irish Derby winner? Let us know, get your socials in, because you've got your 16 to 1. They're going to aim big. He's a 6-year-old, but he's done most of his running over jumps. That's what Hugo Palmer says. Hugo Palmer says he's never met the owner before. He's not long since taken up that operation. They're going to go for the race that Barry quoted at the July Festival, and then they're going to try and look. They might even have a go at the Ebor if they can get him in, or it'll be the Says. So stick with that project, says Hugo Palmer.
Perfect, yeah.
All right, good stuff. Let's get some social loving in as we see Trushan. Marvellous that, wasn't it? How good was that, guys? Trushan 330. Don't rub your eyes. The best ever weight carrying performance in a handicap according to our records. And Lomza Unfiltered says Westover is getting a big bet for me. All right, yeah, well, look, we're keen on him. Are you playing the distances as well?
Tuesday's favourite now.
There was a massive queue, Barry. I could see it.
Yeah, 242.
I wonder, makes you wonder who's playing. Okay, Andy Sims says, I think Westover wins. A save on Hannibal Barca. Interesting. Comes into it in the peak form, doesn't he?
I'm not sure if he's going to stay. That was my only concern about him. He's a bit like Tuesday.
You don't think he's going to eat him up?
No, I don't. I don't think Carthage is going to fall here.
He won't conquer the field.
No,
they're off and running. Right, okay. I got it in as well. Great.
He
Cheers
kept
for
the
that,
best to last day.
He served it up, didn't he? Absolutely superb. Now, Pispadil, no Frankie on him this time. He's up there, but it is going to be French Claim, Paddy Toomey leading the Irish Derby at the moment. Now, Westover, not...
Keen.
He is a bit keen, and I'm surprised. I mean, they're well strung out, Barry, aren't they? He's in second Westover. What's that done to the market with Tuesday looking on from the rear?
Tuesday's out to 2.7, so 7-4 off the back of that. 244 Westover, and French Claim 27 had a bet for SP at 23, so he's on the drift. They're just steadying it on French Claim now. That's not going to suit Westover.
No, absolutely. And I'm just looking for some of the others in there as well. Lionel, how's your Lionel going?
Lionel's, he got a good sit midway, travelling comfortable.
All right, okay, let's think about some puns there for Lionel. All I could think
He's
of
not
was
dancing on the
Blair.
ceiling.
Oh, Joe, you took it out of my way, yeah.
Very, very good. All right, okay, but here we are. We're a mile out in the 2022 Irish Derby. Say what you like about it. This is an exciting race. And we want it to be over a mile forward, don't we? Will we see the Epsom Derby? Or the Derby, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's like saying Macbeth in here, isn't it? Of course, the Derby one. Will we see the Derby form, Frank? Because we've got the likes of Pispadil in there. We saw it at Rod Ascot, didn't we? Tuesday on the inside. Now, Ryan Moore being a bit confident, isn't he? He's going to need a pocket at some point.
I think I could be a commentator's curse, but I think this is perfect for Tuesday. She can use her tactical speed. They haven't gone unbelievable pace up front. Okay, she's behind Westover, but I think this could suit her, hopefully.
He's been jinxing
She's out to
everything all day.
5-2. He's out to 5-2 as soon as Danny said that.
Yeah, he's been...
Exactly.
Honestly, I think I should have got on there when he said that.
I'm off to my
Absolutely.
waiter job.
My worry about Tuesday, guys, I didn't say it before race. She's had 4 quick runs this season, and that she's running here because they're trying to win this with no colt. They don't think it's capable of it. Look at Westover now. Now, here we go. This is where we get racing. It's a stiff uphill
Get it ready,
finish.
Dave. Get it ready, Dave.
Get it ready.
Keane's kicking that early. If Colin Keane's kicking that early, there's no doubt about this horse staying.
Okay, lovely jubbly. This was an unlucky second. He wouldn't have beaten Desert Crowd, but he sets sail now up the long Curragh Straight.
Deal running on.
Tuesday's probably going to be the danger. Pispadil staying on the inside. Now, where
danger.
This is gone, isn't it? This is absolutely gone. Dial the distances, we said. Lengthen your odds. Did you do it? Westover has absolutely torn them a new one. This is marvellous stuff to see, isn't it? Absolutely lovely. And how good is Desert Crown? That's the question, because this guy would have been a close second. Colin Keane was on. It wouldn't have mattered if Poste had ridden him. That would have been job done, wouldn't it? Great to see. How far was it? That's a good question. Did you lengthen your odds out there? That couldn't have gone any better for me and you, Bazza.
That's the right result, Dave. It's a nice way to finish for Wellchild. Nothing really traded short at all. Always had the box seat. Track French Claim all the way. Picked it up 4 furlongs out. The long way from home in the Curragh. Had them all in trouble in behind. He didn't even glance back to see. He just kicked on, rode his own race, said, come and catch me if you can. You're going to have to really stay to get by me here. I'm sure we've got probably a new favourite for the Ledger. Just waiting for the lads to come through with a quote.
Yeah, and what would they be brave enough to go? I don't know. Could he turn out quickly in the King George or something? I don't know. Would he be looking at an R course here? How strong was the race? That would be the question mark in behind. We'll pick the bones out of that and you'll get it in your analysis. But what I loved about this guy is when he turned in, the faith that Barry, and he knows Colin Keane so much.
Exactly, yeah.
Isn't that great? I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah.
If he's kicking on, I thought you were going to say he thinks it's a certainty, which he probably did, but there's no problem about him staying. I wonder, and this is going to be quite obvious to say, but he's now won his 3 races going right-handed. And I reasoned yesterday when I was giving my, sort of synopsis on why I thought he would win.
He's hung away from the whip there.
He's still a bit green, I think. And
he's hung away right into the rail.
He pounds the ground a bit, doesn't he?
Well,
I'd love to see him on some soft ground.
Yeah, and you'd have to argue that Epsom probably wasn't the ideal
No, it
place for
wasn't,
him.
and
I mean, like Sandown,
this is close to Sandown, isn't it? Long straight.
Yeah, stiff,
Right-handed.
galloping, right-handed circuits, you know.
Delighted for Rafe Beckett and connections as well. Rob Hornby will be looking on, but he understands this is a sport. And Colin Keane gets his first Irish derby, I believe. We're hearing as well. So look, all to read. What an end to the show it has been. It was a start of trepidation for us. These two thought they were going to be, in the sunny beer garden at one point, but you're glad you came in because you got your
massively,
trophy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm
you
going
know,
home with the spoils.
I'm hoping that Fran and everyone at home is watching this because this could be a first and last.
What? Me winning a trophy?
Absolutely.
Jeez, I was prolific as a child, mate, honestly.
You were as a rider as well. Great stuff, great fun. You're back with me next Saturday for the Eclipse.
Which I
gets
can't
better,
wait
doesn't it?
for as well, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
it's gonna be
if they
great.
all pitch up, it'd be
Yeah, we're
brilliant,
going to see the French Derby winner, we think, supplement as well. Danny, busy day for you. Good luck tonight in the Ground Derby,
Thank
my man.
you. Cheers.
Remind us of the name.
Romeo Magico. So, yeah, good stuff. And then obviously, yeah, as you say, next Saturday, for Denny, if it turns up, could be an unbelievable eclipse that. Lots to look forward to.
Yeah, loads to look forward to. You're going to be covering Wimbledon as well?
Yeah, Wimbledon, yeah. Djokovic, Coco, Goff double.
Yeah,
Get it on.
Are you going to the Landmark Hotel to show people in tonight as well, are you?
According to Barry, I've got my next job. So.
I tell you what, Barry's done a good job today, hasn't he? He started a little bit slowly, but he's finished strong.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's done really, really well. Just a little update there for the King George, 4 from 10 for Westover. For the Ledger, he's 3-1 from 4-1, and from the Arc, 8-1 from 14-1.
And of course, the story will be: will he get another clean run at Desert Crown? Could that come in the King George? Barry, superb. Look, we had a wonderful Royal Ascot, Barry, but we had the Derby. What a merry month of June it's been, and especially for the charity. You should take a little, doff your cap and have a Desperado tonight.
Yeah, I'll try. I've got a dentist appointment first thing on Monday morning. I've had a bit of a sore tooth, so not looking forward to that. I'll leave the Desperados till after that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd suggest going in you.
Yeah, I'd have a few more than one.
But Barry will be with us, of course, next Saturday for Eclipse as well. I hope you will as well. Thanks to the guys. Thanks to the guys in the gallery. We got there in the end. Jack Reeve doing the social as well. Lovely afternoon here. It only gets better. Westover, Trushan, whoosh.